there'll be at least a change or two.
Yeah.
And the two players who we did mention was obviously Rig, where Roberts most probably come in. And
Barr is obviously the other one that drops
Barr's,
out.
so he's just changed the two wide players. And again, you look at the game on Good Friday against Cardiff. I thought the way Sunderland managed the game, shall I say, was very good. We scored two, could have been more. Again, Bellingham was excellent. His performance and that rest has done him the world of good, and hopefully he'll be able to lead the line again.
Good to see Roberts back. A little bit of flair on that right-hand side. He'll be itching to get back involved. A word though about Aushish. I thought he played exceptionally well on Friday. Him and Job in that partnership. I thought that both of them played very, very well.
Yeah, they did indeed. But again, you look at the mechanics, or you look at the players around him as well, played well. And I think that's the solution. You need the likes of your Dan Neil. I thought he was excellent in the middle of the park, and Equa, playing in there. But also, I thought Barr did well on the left-hand side, and Rig did well on the right-hand side. But I thought it was a fantastic team performance, and I think it rubbed off on each other, and they started to play with that little bit of flair, a little bit of confidence, and that's what we needed.
They pressed well as well. I think that was another thing we took from the game on Friday. Yeah. They didn't allow Cardiff to settle at all at the back.
Yeah, we've seen that, the press higher up the field, and everybody put a shift in, and that's what we needed. And we spoke a couple of times in regards of how we've allowed teams to basically just take the time. There was no pressure on them defence, attacking wise. We never pressed their back three or back four. But against Cardiff we did, and they made mistakes and they got punished for them.
Just trying to find the Blackburn team. I don't think they have made many changes. We listened to their game actually driving back from Cardiff on Friday. They had obviously a lot of attacking intent, but their problem seems to be scoring goals, which seems a bit ironic because Sami Šmodić has got 27 goals this season, but they just cannot find the back of the net at the minute.
Yeah, you look at Šmodić, and he's a player who's in a rich vein of form. Everything he touches ends up in the back of the net, and he's one who we've got to keep an eye on. They'll come here, they'll want to try to play, but they're a team who's struggling confidence-wise.
Kevin, how you doing,
so it's important
welcome,
that we start on the front foot.
Sam Gallagher is back in attack for Blackburn Rovers this afternoon. He replaces Tyrese Dolan, so maybe that's the piece of the jigsaw they've been missing.
Well, again, when you talk about Blackburn, when you talk about, shall we say, some sort of presence, they've got no presence up front. When you talk about Dolan, Šmodić, yes, he scores goals, but they've not really got an out-and-out, shall we say, target man, and Gallagher will give him that.
So it could be interesting. Leicester they're leading Norwich 2-1 this afternoon. They were 1-0 down in that game, but they fought back at home to lead Norwich 2-1 in what is looking like an incredibly exciting end of the season, 3-horse race by the looks of things at the top of the championship. But then it's pretty exciting down the bottom as well. It looks as though that's going to go to the wire, and Blackburn desperately hoping that they're not going to be involved in that fight to stay up. Their team pairs Britton, Pickering, High and Tronstad, Šmodić, Gallagher. Dolan actually keeps his place. Rankins, Costello, Wharton and Hedges. Ben Brasini is the player that misses out. He's on the bench this afternoon. The youngster on loan from Aston Villa, the winger, he's on the bench for Blackburn Rovers this afternoon. Something I did want to talk to you about, which has sort of come to the fore over the last couple of days, Benno, is the talk of the club, Kirill Louis-Dreyfus, taking out a £20 million loan, which I understand is correct. And it sort of has that feeling about it that it's back to the days of Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven Madrox. Took a £10 million loan out. Certainly a talking point about what the intentions of the club are to do such a thing. And your first instinct is that, well, if the money's been taken out to finance all the talk of the changes they're making within the stadium this summer, you can see conceivably they can then sell a player or two players and repay the loan. But I think many fans will argue, well, shouldn't that money be being used to pay for new players.
Yeah, it's interesting, but when you're talking about taking out a loan, and then obviously questions are going to be asked about obviously Kirill Dreyfus in regards of finance. You're talking about somebody who supposedly is worth quite a lot of money, and then you're wondering, why is he going to get a loan? Now, if you are going to get a loan, first of all, you might have asked your parents.
Good luck with that.
So that's something which is not happened. So you're going to question obviously the finance part of it, and then when he is going for the loan, what's the loan going to be actually used upon? Is it going to be used upon the ground, around the ground, or is it going to be put towards recruiting players or wages? So that's going to be the next question. Why and what's it going to be used for?
Understandable conjecture, I would say, over the reasons for it. I guess people, what they want is some sort of transparency. They would like the club to come out, or Kirill to come out and say, these are the reasons for us taking out this loan. I mean, I think there were in the minutes, the fans' collective minutes, talk of rumours of a £10 million loan, but as Steve Davison, the chief operating officer, said at the time, if that had been the case, it would appear in Company's House, and it never did. I think this is completely separate. This seems to be American finance rather than anything else, which is exactly what happened with Madrox. It was a £10 million American money, wasn't it?
But again, the big question is why. That's what they're going to be questioning, and where is the club going from here? Because you're thinking that we're on, shall we say, maybe, hopefully, solid foundations. We've got assets now. Come summer, if we do go and sell two players or three players, then obviously that money coming in.
So there's quite
what are we going to do with it?
A full programme in the Championship today.
Interesting.
Do you pay the loan back, or do you keep the loan, and then what are you going to do with the money what you get back from the players? Do you invest it back into the recruitment of players? Or are we just going to say, right, okay, we can question about obviously the money which we got for Ross, who went to Southampton. What's happened there? I know he's going to be paid over so many, maybe a couple of seasons, 3 seasons, but you're mostly thinking, well, with the assets we've got, you're just thinking, well, we could have got a loan from anywhere, couldn't we? Really?
Indeed. Yes, look, you're wanted. Like Cardiff, people want to take pictures of you and have the autographs and so on. So I'm going to chat to Rob Mason, Sunderland club historian. Good afternoon, Rob. Benno's needed elsewhere.
In demand as always.
Everyone wants a pound of flesh.
I hope that lad's autograph book is a big enough page to get all the letters after Benno's name on it.
Indeed. Rob, thanks for coming up. First, I wanted to speak to you about Tom Linn. We spoke briefly about it on Good Friday, but the 66th minute today, asking for applause. I think it will happen. I don't think there's any doubt today.
I don't think there's any doubt. And as I said to you on Friday, Nick, a lot of people knew Tom, but even people who didn't know him personally, most Sunderland supporters would have heard of Tom, and would have heard of Tom from years and years back, from the days he used to win the letter of the week in the Football Echo more weeks than he didn't, and then through all the work he did on various fanzines, all the work he did on lots of fan podcasts, where he always came across as a very knowledgeable and passionate supporter, but in particular from the work he did where, along with the late much lamented Brian Lang, he set up the excellent magazine The Wearside Row, and of course was one of the singers on the Cheer Up Peter Reid record that took that to number 41 in the charts. So a well-known supporter, a personal friend of mine, and I'll certainly put aside the etiquette of the press box, and I'll be joining in the applause on 66 minutes for Tommy.
Yes, so that's something that will occur, as will at half-time. Frankie tells me they're going to play Cheer Up Peter Reid as well.
Yeah, Frankie earlier, you've saying that, and all well and good. Yeah, good.
That's good to hear on the place. Now, talking about legends like Benno, when we were at Cardiff on Friday.
Yeah, let me know that. Is that better, Joe? You should be able to hear me still, and the radio in the background should be a little bit.
Next to me is
But it
Dave
shouldn't
Elliott.
be as loud, so let us know if that's
played
all
for
right for you.
Sunderland
Yeah.
and Newcastle United. Played for Newcastle in the first round, I think, of the Fairs Cup.
Yeah, he
Their
did.
first European game.
Or if you
against
want me to
United.
shut up and you just want to
Clearly he's
listen
now
to the
moved to
radio,
Wales and watches Cardiff City.
let us know what you guys want.
And
I'll turn me down and I'll turn the
He
radio
played
up.
about sort of 35 games for Sunderland. I think something in the region about 60 for Newcastle. He was a local lad from up here. Came through the Sunderland youth system. Was in around Sunderland in the early 60s. And in the 63-64 promotion season, Sunderland's first ever promotion season, 60 years ago this term, he was on the fringes, and in those days there was no substitutes at all. Otherwise he'd have been a regular sub, but he did come into the team and he played 8 games at left half in place of Jim McNabb when Jim broke his leg. And the 8 games that Dave took part in included derbies against Newcastle and Middlesbrough, and all 3 games in the FA Cup quarter-final against Manchester United. So he picked some very, very big games to be part of. And he's a lovely fella, Dave. He's in his late 70s now, still plays walking football every week, still very passionate, but he's lived in Cardiff for many years. He played down there, lived in Cardiff for many years.
Hi, cheers, Kev. Thanks a lot. Thanks for letting us know.
Cardiff City season ticket holder at the moment. So he'd have been there, but he's still obviously got a big fondness for his former teams, which are Sunderland, Newcastle, and also Southend United, where he played about just under 200 games.
And as to Friday's game,
these bank
sort of
holidays, like,
promised before the game that Sunderland
they're a
would
pain in the backside.
not
I
lose
just
the
get
game
so
because their
confused with the
record
days.
on
I mean,
Good Friday.
Friday,
So it came to
I'm
pass.
so convinced it
Gary
was
Bennett
Saturday.
beating a hasty retreat now, so he doesn't
And I
have to
hope
get
I don't
involved in this
think it's
conversation.
Saturday
He's wandered
today,
off.
because I think I'm going to be
But,
off work again.
Gary was pouring scorn on your stats on Saturday, and you said, well,
It's
we'll
back
see.
to work
I will say
tomorrow. I was
Saturday,
going to be
Friday.
in this morning.
And in fact, it proved to be completely right.
50-50 now. That's great. Thank you.
Friday.
Cheers. As long as you're
lived
happy
up
with
to
that,
its
Joe.
past record, and I thought the performance was our best performance since well before Christmas. I know in the first 10 minutes we were sluggish.
I was going to go in this morning, but my daughter wasn't very well. She's fine. She's nothing alarming or anything like that. It's just she had a restless night. I was up and down.
I thought from then on
Hardly
we took
slept,
full
and I don't want to be
advantage,
driving a
went on,
taxi.
Played very, very well.
I have.
It's harsh to be critical on such a good performance. The only thing you could say that was a negative was
slept,
with the
basically.
chances that we had, we really should have come off with a much bigger win than 2-0. But I think if you'd offered every Sunderland supporter a 2-0 win before kick-off, given the way that we
Ed, how are you
the recent
doing?
results, everybody would
Thanks
have
for the stream. You're
been
welcome.
delighted
Clark on
with
bench.
that.
Yes, he
And I felt
is.
particularly pleased for the
93% going for the win
Sunderland
today.
supporters section,
And Kevin
who,
says I'm
despite
off till
those 60
Friday.
beats
Very,
and followed
very
by
nice,
a dismal goalless draw at home to Queen's Park Rangers, it still trekked the length of the country and through to Wales on a Good Friday. The loyalist of the loyal, well played to each and every one of them, and I was delighted they had a long journey back with a smile on their face after a great performance and a good result.
Indeed, and interesting that one of those statistics was that Sunderland have scored the second fewest number of goals, highest number of goals on Good Friday, just behind Grimsby Town. But they're still just behind Grimsby Town because Grimsby managed to score on Good Friday. 3 goals is the difference, 128 to 131. But it is a remarkable record.
It's a statistical quirk. It's a statistical quirk. It just so happens that over the years we've done very well on Good Friday. And incidentally, if talking statistical quirks, today's game against Blackburn is the 700th league game Sunderland have ever played in the month of April. And you might think, well, what's the big deal about that? But there's only 2 of the months where they've played over 600, and they're something like 50 games behind April. The reason is, of course, Easter often falls in April, and that traditionally there's been 3 games in 4 days over April. And also, in the course of a football season, when games are postponed for weather in the winter, they're often tagged in at the end of the season, and you get a bit of a fixture pile up in April. So again, a statistical quirk that I appreciate will only interest a minuscule number of people listening, those that are interested in such quirky stats. But 700th game in April today, by far the most in any calendar month for Sunderland.
Stats wouldn't be worth being stats if they weren't interesting in many ways. That's why they're there,
You
aren't they?
either love them or hate them. Apologies if you hate them. If you love them, I'm sure you'll like that one.
There for a reason, a good reason as well. Blackburn, as I was saying to Benno, I mean, they're fighting for their lives now. I mean, extraordinary, really. Bearing in mind, the conversations we used to have with Tony Mowbray about how over the years, they progressed. They were at 7th place last season. Last day missed out on the playoffs. Now here they are, flirting with relegation.
At half-time on the last day of last season, it looked like Blackburn were going to pip Sunderland for the final playoff pace. And then, of course, Millwall who we've got here later in the month.
2-0 win today, says Kev. Yeah, nice to see, wouldn't it? Nice to see.
We took the playoff place. But Blackburn at the beginning of this season were expected to be one of those teams there or thereabouts in the race for playoffs, and for a fair bit of this season they look like they might manage that. But they've fallen away badly now. They are looking over their shoulders. There's been a change of manager at Ewood Park, and looking into today's game, while for a big change compared to what we normally have at Sunderland, where we almost always we're pushing at one end of the league or the other, trying to go up or stay up. This year we're going to just sort of end up in mid-table, a very rare end of season for Sunderland supporters, where they might actually have some fingernails left at the end of the season. But for Blackburn, coming into the game today, they've got an awful lot to play for. I'd hope that come your final wrap-up of the game with Gary this afternoon, we're not saying Blackburn wanted it more because there was more at stake for them, because Sunderland have got to show that professionalism this afternoon to build on the good result that we had last week, to continue how well we've been doing recently. I know the QPR game was poor, but nonetheless that's back-to-back clean sheets. It's the beginning of a couple of games unbeaten. I'd love to think we could go unbeaten till the end of the season. And if we can, we're not going to catch the top 6 now, but we want to finish as high as possible. And the opportunity of 3 points today, and then another home game against Bristol City at the weekend, it's an opportunity to.
Well, the weather like in Carlisle, well, near Carlisle and Warwick Bridge, it's
and you're not at the match today, and it's too late.
It's dry, I would say, but it is overcast. Yesterday was a better
game on Saturday.
Indeed, and
a better day. Rusty Mac and Cabby, Rusty Mac and Gran Canaria, 20 million more. Mummy's money certainly seems to be frozen.
At Leicester, so
mad fun all over.
Very interesting.
Doesn't add up, does it, mate?
Indeed, with Sunderland's last game of the season being at home to Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield may well be scrapping for their lives to stay up.
Mike Cassett, hey Stuart, how you doing, mate? Good day from Melbourne, Australia. Good day from Warwick Bridge.
Having been a student in Sheffield many years ago
in the United Kingdom.
When Ian Porterfield was playing for
What's the weather like in Australia, mate? Is it holding up well?
Safely watch Sunderland beat Sheffield Wednesday and not be sending Sheff Wed down. I'd like to think Sheffield Wednesday was safe by then, but it could be that Sunderland are the team that put them down on the last day of the season.
I don't know if you can see that, but it's just so depressing. This is all we've had
always goes down
all the time,
constantly.
And if I scroll along, it's just rain and black cloud. And this has gone on since
the teenage cancer trust.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed. Doing 19 laps.
Back end of summer last year.
Talking about your stats on Good Friday.
I can always come back.
Weather's really bad, like terrible.
On Friday's game against Cardiff, Good Friday's games. There were quite a lot of them. They were all very good, and you dissed them. Yeah.
Nick's trying to egg you
Peter Crawford along, welcome to the channel. Hi, greetings from Seaton Canoe.
Nailed on. They were going to lose. Nailed on today, a draw.
Nailed on draw.
Blackburn 6 draws in the last 9.
Okay. So you think there's going to be
Sunderland
a draw?
Only one
I'm not
home
a betting
draw.
man, but if I was, I'd go for a draw.
No, I don't bet either. And Sunderland's only home draw this season was, of course, the last game. We're more than overdue some home draws. But let's hope we can get the 3 points, which is what we're after.
Another quirk today. The referee today, the only other game he refereed this season was at Blackburn. So he's refereeing the corresponding fixtures. It doesn't actually happen very often. It's very rare that you get the referee who refereed the original game of the season refereeing the corresponding fixture. But that's what it is this afternoon, John Busby. Is it an omen? I don't know.
My son Ollie.
1-3-1. I don't think there's anything
might be the only
I agree with something new. It's been warm but no rain. Welcome Garden.
By different people who were running them before.
It's a good one. Ours is just saturated though.
Because we got a good result down there at Blackburn.
It would be, as someone pointed out earlier, typical Sunderland now with nothing to play for to go and win every game.
That would suit me fine. That would suit me fine. If you won every game now, or even just went unbeaten, with a few wins and a few draws between now and the end of the season, going to the end of the season on, something like a 9 or 10 game unbeaten run, it would give everybody a bit of optimism going into the season coming up, because next season is going to be a very important season for Sunderland, because this season we're going to end up in mid-table. That's fine. But next season we absolutely have to go.
He's just been to do what kids do. Go to the shop and spend their money.
As if we mean it and actually get it. We've been out of the top division already for longer than any time in the club's history. We can't be out of the top division.
And Leicester have just gone 3-1 up.
That's where a club of this stature, this history, this stadium, this fan base has to be, and that's what the club have got to actually pull out all the stops to make sure we do next year.
It's the biggest debate I think I've seen brewing in seasons about this summer. What happens this summer?
Well, they're losing Leicester 1-0, and they certainly turned that around. I see that. I've been watching your videos tonight.
What do you think will happen?
I've no idea. It could go all sorts of different ways.
It just be sometimes typical of Sunderland. You know, we'll spend all summer.
It's on Bits Park, isn't it?
Yeah. And last minute, we'll be shocked
Really change.
and we'll get a player or two.
Anything else to cheer us up this afternoon?
Well, come and say hello to everybody on the stream. Holly's been to say hello.
It could be, who knows? None of us have got a crystal ball.
That's
We've all got
between
that we come out
number
of the summer,
2.
show the ambition that we want to actually get up. And coming back to Nick's point about it, we
not much change from a tenner, eh?
Good run at the end of the season. That would only help. It would provide an air of optimism around the club. It would provide an air of optimism.
I live in the Isle of Martock, Somerset. It's supposed to be a village 30 miles from the sea. I'd love to live near the sea. I'm right on the sea. I'm born and bred in Sunderland. Obviously, I was right next to the sea. We all are, but there's something about seaside
on Friday at Cardiff City, and has done brilliantly this season given his age and how many games he's played. Players like that are going to have a bit more about them next season, and we've got to bring them some help to, you know, get into those top positions, not be mucking around 11th, 12th in the league.
Yeah, and the question, sorry Nick, and the question is, you know, you just mentioned Joel, the problem you've got is, if a bid or a club comes in for them players, will we be able to keep hold of them?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you both before you go, Rob, is that there is some debate about this summer and finance, in that the lower end Premier League clubs, who are probably the teams that will be in the market for your Clarks, Ballards and whoever, they're not spending money now because of the change in the financial rules.
Yeah.
The money isn't there, where we'd be looking at hopefully 20 million plus for Jack Clark. There's a school of thought that that sort of money this summer will not be on the table for players.
Clark, Ballard, Hume, Patterson, Dan Neil, you know, Job, there's half a dozen players, all of whom Premier League teams would like. If Sunderland choose to sell any of them, or any of those lads choose to go,
how's it going?
That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. The only two players I've ever been really disappointed we sold for big money was Dennis Stewart and Jordan Henderson. I don't mind us selling players. What I mind is if we sell the players and don't replace them. If we sell players and bring them in, I mean, you're looking up the road at Newcastle United, reputedly the richest club in the world. Every time I listen to somebody about United, because of the financial fair play, I keep hearing they're probably
not too bad.
Their top players in order to, you know,
confused with the days of these bank holidays as usual.
Well, if Newcastle have got to sell players with the amount of money behind that club,
good win for Liverpool yesterday, wasn't it?
But if we sell players, do we just sell players and say we'll tart up a few bars, or do we say we'll? Sorry, that's
absolutely.
We'll few bars. We'll upgrade the stadium, which is what's been done.
It'd be great for Klopp, like if it's his last season, to get the title.
What is most important is we upgrade what's on the pitch. Because I heard you talking to Gary about what might happen.
Even for Liverpool, people.
And it comes back to when Bob Murray extended the North Stand at a time when some people said, "Don't extend the North Stand, put the money on the pitch." And Bob would always say, "Look, I put money on the pitch as well," and would have evidence to back that up.
I know.
But it's
even people that aren't fan of Liverpool, the one for Klopp,
everything else takes care of itself. Because the ground's full every week, corporate hospitality's full every week. People can't buy enough stuff from the club shop.
I'm glad Jacob's away today.
Get a winning team, and everything else will look after itself. If you put it into bricks and mortar, that's great. You've got it there forever. It's an asset. There's no doubt about it. But there's no point having a fabulous stadium and fabulous.
Carlisle and Dire Straits this season. Yeah, I know they went up too soon.
Get the team right on the pitch, which we're making massive strides to do in the last 2 or 3 years. You think about where we were 2-3 years ago. We've come on a lot.
They
hasn't got to hit the
won though 3-1 against Peterborough.
This season is going to be a season of consolidation after a really
something different following a game on a Monday morning. It's weird though. Absolutely.
And if we can do it on the football pitch,
Mike Castle,
off the pitch things will
do we know the lineup, please? As my FC app not working, surprise, surprise. Yeah, if you look on the pin post above, there is a pin post. You will see the team lineup made.
I would answer it in regards of
back in the day. I remember Carlisle making first division,
and then you're talking about the model.
Yeah, absolutely. Do things change?
and then we're going to be asking that question: do you stick with the model, or
do you tweak the model?
Do you tweak it? Now, we know that you need 1 or 2 experienced players, and to get experienced players, they come at a cost. And I'm not talking about maybe price, maybe in wages. Now, are we gonna?
I was hoping for Leicester to lose today. Like,
I don't mean like go way over the top, but we might have to. Shall we
I was
say,
hoping Leicester would lose today, like just to make it like
out a little bit,
even
just
more
to get us over
exciting
the line
at the
now.
top.
And I think a fine example is you've looked at Ipswich, and look how well they've done. And yeah, they brought in an experienced striker, Kiefer Moore, just to give him that added experience up there, and hopefully get them over the line.
But I mean, it's interesting because I've read a number of fans' comments who say, why aren't Sunderland gambling like Ipswich have done on clearly pumping a lot of money in this season with a view to going up again, and so far still 7 games to go, they're looking in a very strong position for it to come off.
Yeah, they are indeed. And what's happened there is that they've had that momentum, haven't they? They've had the momentum, and what they've been able to do,
I don't know, I've got a funny feeling it might be a draw today.
But also they've added just to freshen things up, and they've got a great opportunity. Now you look at us last season, we did tremendously well. Now you just think, if we invested or got that experience, maybe another striker in at the time, because maybe we overachieved. But saying that, you've got to we'll reflect back and think, if only we got a striker in who could add maybe 5 or 6 goals, we would not be in this division. We would be in the Premier League now.
Yes, right. Before 3, we're here from Mike Dodds and Adil Aushish. I mean, when I say we'll hear from Adil Aushish, just there's a caveat to that. He doesn't speak a great deal of English.
I thought you had done it in French.
It's times like Friday after the game. I think I should have listened more
at school.
At school, for my O levels. Because yes, put it this way: it's not an extensive interview, and it won't be particularly insightful.
It's supposed to be at work
but
today.
You will hear.
Didn't get much sleep last night.
You know, that's a bonus.
It is.
We've not heard him before.
No.
So that's to come before 3. I'm bigging that up. And this afternoon, 3 o'clock, full commentary. The 2 teams, Sunderland have made 2 changes. Roberts and Mundell
drive when you've only a couple hours kick.
And Blackburn have made 1 change. Sam Gallagher comes back in up front for Ben Cresceni, who's on loan from Aston Villa. Bigging everything up here. We're going to get a roundup of the sports news now from Simon Pride.
You wish Pop Robson was back.
I don't think I do, really.
Big me up.
I don't need to big you up, really.
In his vest.
Is he in his vest?
I don't think we'll win today. What are wrong? I'm just not convinced.
Me squeezing into my running vest for the first time in a while. Yeah,
it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like every game now is like a dead rubber. It's like, dare I say, they don't mean anything because of the fact, like, we're not going to get in the playoffs, we're not going to get relegated. It's a strange one.
But we'll move on from that. But always good to hear from Rob Mason there, very upbeat as ever. And Benno didn't bring me down a great deal, despite his more, I don't know,
experience and pride,
realism that he brings to the conversation about Sunderland. And yes, I'm now looking forward very much to hearing from Adil Aushish a little bit later on. Now then, anyway, if Benno is still listening, the playoffs are still on. Okay, good news today. Leicester have beaten Norwich City. That was the early kickoff in the Championship. So Leicester have beaten Norwich City by 3-1. Norwich are in the
Ant's actually at the game today, isn't he?
They have 64 points. So if Sunderland win today, they will only be 10 points behind, and it is still on. So yes, we will take a bit of Rob Mason's positivity and just see what can happen if Sunderland can get a lot of victories together. As far as that game is concerned, in Leicester, well, that had to come from behind actually, because Gabriel Serra put Norwich City ahead on 20 minutes, and then Leicester on 33 minutes equalised. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. And,
oh, is he only living for a year out there, is he?
Mavididi, Steffi Mavididi. Who
is he only living out there for a year?
Front on 61 minutes. And then Jamie Vardy, the evergreen Jamie Vardy, with a goal in injury time just before that match ended, giving Leicester City the victory. Plenty of other games in the Championship this afternoon as well. Birmingham, Preston, Coventry versus Cardiff. It's Borough against Sheffield Wednesday. It's Plymouth against Bristol City. Rotherham United versus Millwall. Stoke City against Huddersfield. It's Swansea QPR. West Brom against Watford. And then a couple of later games, so at 5:30 it's Ipswich Town against Southampton. Big game at the top of the Championship, that one. And then Leeds United, who will be looking to go back on top. They're at home to Hull City. That one is at 8 o'clock this evening. So that's how things are looking elsewhere in the Championship. In the National League, we would have been keeping more than a close eye.
It'd be tricky for them to do the streams if he's working because of the time zones, won't it?
Called off. A relatively late decision there in Lancashire. Clearly the weather conditions have caused the pitch to be unplayable there. So no game now for Gateshead this afternoon.
I mean, does he really want him to be up 2 or 3 in the morning if he has a job and he's off on a weekend?
Away at Chorley, South Shields away at Curzon Ashton.
I'm sure
Premier Division, well,
he's thought of that anyway, hasn't he? He's put the pros and cons of it.
Ashington off in the East Division. Newton Aycliffe against
Dunstan. He knows what he's doing.
Does go ahead though. And Paul Dixon, BBC Radio Newcastle's non-league expert, is at Consett today. Consett against Stockton Town, Dicker. And hopefully weather conditions, pitch conditions okay there, and you'll be looking forward to a good
afternoon, Steads. You all right, mate?
Well, that's dead right, Simon. Yes, it's a 3G pitch here, so no problem at all, even though it's
Ant's not streaming today.
Here.
He's at the match, so let's hope we win for
Chairman Frank Bell. Frank, who's done an awful lot of work here at Consett over the last 10 years, and he's had the 3G pitch here. Frank, looking at the games going ahead today where there's other teams they've had to call their games off because the rain is just saturating the pitches, where no problem here at all, is there?
No, there's no problem at all today on a 3G pitch, and it's a real difficult challenge for all the other clubs because the water tables are so high at the moment. And what we've seen over the last 6 months is just incessant rain, and we've seen a almost change in climate where
sounds like there's a bumblebee flying around. I used to go to Royal Park on the local bus.
After today, but there's other teams in and around the northeast. They've got 8, 9, 10 games to play, and they've got to nearly be finished by the 27th of April.
How you doing, Mike? Kicker Rangers, hiya pal, hope you're well. Yeah, right fella, how you doing? How's it going? How's it
knocked back. What do you think the FA can do for them teams, Frank?
The FA, through the club programme at the moment, has got over the next 4 years, an investment programme for 3G pitches. And in fact, last weekend we ran a seminar down at York City Football Club and invited all the regional clubs, including all the Northern League clubs, to come along. And at that,
how are you, Michael Hood? You're okay?
We would have explained the process in terms of how to access funding for a 3G pitch, and also the difference between the grant funding and how you can source that through other local agencies, etc. as well, to make it easier for the clubs.
Tony says, I fancy a big win today.
Clubs, but
you said 4-0, but I'm never right. Stead says 2-0 today. Ballard from a corner, and I fancy Joe. Doing alright, cheers for a good win for you lot the other day.
Very difficult for clubs because they're not financially
everybody's confident about us getting the win today, like
mouth to mouth, week to week, as you would say. But there is help there for them, isn't there?
Oh, there is indeed. A brand new 3G pitch, you're not far off £1 million now.
I would say so.
70% of that will be funded by the FA, especially for the community clubs, and then there is lots more funding out there
to
fill that gap, the other £300,000. So it's very much doable, especially for the community clubs.
And Frank, when we talk to people about Consett, they always think it's snowing or raining or whatever, sleet over here. So you really have to change the pitch, and it seems now the whole of the northeast, like week in week out, it just rains. You've got to do something about it, haven't you?
You have indeed. The last season we had it, the old Bellevue, which was a wonderful old stadium. But let's face it, we had water all over the pitch. But to be fair, we had water in the
Southgate's fault to lost the finals.
To be truly honest,
take an early lead in the 2 minutes and then we just crap ourselves.
So bad was
oh my God, we're 1-0 up against Italy. What do we do?
Also being waterlogged, so it was a no-brainer for me that we had to move across to a 3G pitch. But not only just for the weather, but also it makes it accessible for the community. And when you engage with the community, it builds the club on a more sustainable basis.
Frank, thank you very much indeed for your time, and I wish you all the best this afternoon. Thank you. Simon.
Dicker, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the game this afternoon. We'll obviously keep you updated. That's our featured non-league match today, and we will bring you the non-league roundup, the local football.
Stead on the chat has just says, Cabby, who would you like to see in as our manager?
Games elsewhere, but if you
and do you think we should have one before the end of the season?
Because,
I think we should have one sorted before the end. So yeah, there's a mixtures on that.
Debate about artificial pitches certainly reignited.
There's Will Still, there's Cooper.
Of our local teams
Heckingbottom is 50-50
experiencing. So yeah, we'll keep you up to date throughout the course of the afternoon with all the football around the country and locally. Let's reflect now.
We had your Newcastle, Mike. Yeah,
Saturday's
Sunderland's confidence
BBC Radio
precedes
Newcastle, and well, a bit of a thriller at St James's Park, wasn't it? Newcastle coming from 3-1 down to beat West Ham United 4-3 in the end.
Mark Robbins as well, yeah, I know. I watched that as well. Darv, I thought that was
his substitute
thingy.
I was keen at 3-1 down to try and provide us some spark and some momentum, and with Elliot Anderson, Lewis Hall, Harvey Barnes, 3 quality players.
And Black Roberts is back up and happy. Clark is on the pitch. Hello, Paige, welcome. How are you doing, Pet?
And Miggy Almer on as well, of course, who came off. So, yeah, I thought they all did well. I thought they all improved our performance. But as I said, in both halves, I thought we were very good going forward. But certainly things to improve the other way.
I was going to say, the entertainment's fantastic. I mean, that's 52 goals in the 9 games this year, or 10 games this year you've been involved in. You've got to try and shore up at the back a little bit more, haven't you? Because you're not always going to get 4 goals to win games.
No, of course. And we don't plan to concede goals. We work very hard to not concede goals. We've been working really hard in the international break on our defensive structure. And I think if you look at the 3 goals, one's a counter-attack from I think it was a corner from our perspective, which should never happen. The quick free kick should never happen in my viewpoint from another angle. The first goal is probably the one tactically and where we need to look at what we're doing.
Eddie Howe speaking after his team's victory. Then the win came at a cost. Skipper Jamal Lascelles.
Hi from Cornwall. Can we look forward to this?
Surgery on his knee. He'll be out for up to 9 months.
I think it's just in a way it's nice, isn't it, when you think there's no pressure, there's no anxieties of going up, there's no anxieties of getting relegated. It's like sort of let's sit back and just watch the show. We just hope it's a good show. Yeah, I hope we can get the win today.
At the Stadium of Light, there'll be a busy show tomorrow.
Your poll is interesting
results. Manchester City lost a little bit of ground in the title race, held as they were to a goalless draw at the Etihad by Arsenal, and they're 3rd in the table now, 3 points.
Do you think you definitely go Clippity Clop?
Liverpool, who beat Brighton by 2 goals to 1. City's manager Pep Guardiola says it's impossible to play really well in every game.
Arsenal is an exceptional team, well managed, and the players are really good. But if you pretend as a manager during 5 years always been exceptional every season, every game, I'm sorry, there is no room for that.
And let's
thing is though, Doug, doesn't matter who the manager comes in, if it's the same model that KLD are using,
in the championship,
it ain't gonna work.
Looking
good. You've got to let the manager pull the strings and do what, let him take control.
After a 3-0 win,
because it doesn't matter. It's no good bringing an experienced manager in, and then
how important the result that was.
We've got our massive win. Just continue to buy kids from France. It ain't gonna work. We'll be in the same thing, same boat as what we were this season.
And try to frustrate Win. We had to try and figure a way of breaking through it, and we had some good conversations at half time, and they came out fighting in the second half and got the 3 goals.
Say that Watford made it difficult, especially
Mundas in for bar, good move. And Stead Dodds has the team right again.
Yeah, you have to find a way to win, and it was never going to be easy coming here. We thought they might
sit deep and
frustrate with, and they're in a relegation fight. They're trying to protect their goal, and
it's not going to be an easy game today. I mean,
even though there was space, we couldn't identify where it was quick enough with ball speed.
They're fighting to stay up. Blackburn, they're in free fall.
We got that first goal in the second half,
they'll be battling.
But we grew in confidence, and there's only going to be one winner after that.
goal for Liz and 2 goals for Scarzy again. Great.
Yeah, mate, just chilled out when you work non-stop in the taxi,
yeah,
as much as I do like driving.
He works really hard, and
it's nice to just
unwind. But that's a massive goal for us today in terms of to spur what
yourself.
She was in the right place. I think it was a good cross that's come in, and she's got a head on the end of it. And
did you?
You know, we moved Scarzy central, and you know, she's got with 2 goals, confident enough to step up and take the penalty as well, which was good, and just really pleased for the team. You know, we know what we've got to do. We know we've got to keep winning, and you know, that was a big.
Cheers for the subscriber, whoever that is.
Big result for Melrose.
Hello, Razzle Clark. Clark, how are we doing? Clark on the bench. Yes, he is on the bench.
Crystal Palace.
Well, we'll probably see him get a run out.
Sunderland with a game in hand, and Durham could have done Sunderland a huge favour actually by beating Palace, but they lost 5-1 at New Ferrens Park. The Durham manager Claire Ditchburn was particularly disappointed, given her team was very much in the match at half-time.
I thought first half we did really well. We've created lots of opportunities. Brought it back to 1-1 at half-time, and at half-time
yeah, well, Robert's
positive
back.
About our performance.
Unfortunately,
well. We came out in the second half, and we've just let our standards slip. And as you say, there's a reason that.
So Leicester back at the top of the table on 85 points. It's so neck and neck, isn't it?
The minute we let our standards slip, they take advantage.
Swadix is a very good striker for Blackburn. Need to be careful of him. Yeah. They've all got little weapons. These
standard slipping. What specific things have you seen? What were you referring to there?
Oh, I think just little things that add up to have a big effect when you play the top teams. Maybe just not quite being as sharp in the press, or not quite connecting that pass, the detail on the pass not being correct, and maybe just switching off for a split second. So it was nothing particularly. It wasn't particularly one thing. I would say it was just that those little details that add up and have a big impact.
You changed your goalkeeper today. What was the thinking behind that?
I think that we looked at the qualities that each goalkeeper brings, and then we compare it to our analysis of Crystal Palace and the threat that they bring, and we just felt that today, you know, Crystal Palace, they put a lot of balls into the box. They're very dominant in that area, and T's got a really good presence. She's comfortable with balls coming into the box, and so we wanted to try and combat that.
Disappointing result for Durham, and that was Claire Ditchburn speaking to BBC Radio Newcastle's Colin White. Durham are 4 points off the bottom 2 positions, so looking over their shoulders a little bit in terms of the relegation positions, and just a couple of games left now in the Championship, not far to go. In snooker, the Tour Championship, which features the top 12 players this season so far. It's underway.
Did you see the alternative commentary video I did the other day, Jacob?
He is currently up against Mark Selby, going well so far.
Alan Shearer in his bluebird outfit.
John Higgins is 3-1 up against Mark Allen. And in basketball, the Newcastle Eagles won on the road against the Leicester Riders yesterday, so they're up to 4th. They go above the Riders in the table. In the Women's British Basketball League, the Eagles lost at the Caledonia Gladiators by 90 points to 58 yesterday. That after losing the North East Derby on Saturday to the Durham Palatinate. So that's you up to date with everything else going on. I would.
If we do sell Clark, who do you think will be a great replacement? I know we have Wonderland, but we need a player like Clark's quality in the side. Hello, Derek. Good afternoon. All from rainy Blackpool. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you.
Benno and Barnsley taking to kick off. Sunderland versus Blackburn next.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Could it be the end for sausage dogs?
Dachshunds
are facing a breeding ban in Germany, which is obviously where they come from. They just love a sausage in Germany, don't they? Everything is sausage-shaped in Germany. They've got sausage dogs.
Just asked
They've got cars shaped like sausages. If you go over there, they're all just using sausage-shaped phones. I went to a sausage museum when I was in Germany. People always ask me whether it was any good. I always have to say it was the absolute worst. And there's more of that terrible crack on Tuesday. I'll see you then.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Just been looking for the picture of Pridey bursting out of his vest, but I can't find it.
They've removed it.
Have they removed it? Have they?
X-rated.
Oh, heavens.
Not. Not for social media.
Oh dear. So what you're telling me was it was not a good look.
Well, what do you think?
No,
you've
moving on.
seen Friday.
I'm moving on. There's office politics in all this, so time to move on. Sunderland this afternoon, 2 changes. Roberts and Mundle come in for Rigg and Barr. They are both on the bench. Jack Clark is back in the squad. He's on the bench as well this afternoon. Patterson in goal. Hume, O'Neill, Ballard and Styles. Neil and Ekwa. Roberts, Ashish, Mundle and Job. And the bench is Bishop, Pembele, Hamir, Burstow, Barr, Clark, Rigg, Helder and Dak. We'll hear from Adil Ashish before kickoff.
We'll hear from him.
You'll hear him. You'll hear him.
You'll hear him.
You won't learn a lot, but you'll hear him. Blackburn Rovers, Ainsley
Excellent.
Pears in goal. You'll know very well, Benno, he's the son of the former Borough keeper, Stephen Pears, former Borough player, one time on loan at Gateshead as well, back in the day. Back 4, Callum Britton, Dominic Hyam, Scott Wharton and Harry Pickering. Midfield, Sondre Tronstad and Joe Rankin Costello. 3 across the middle and behind the striker. Ryan Hedges, Sammy Smodric and Tyrese Dolan, because Sam Gallagher comes back in up front for Blackburn Rovers, offering them a bit of height, 6'4", and as you said, offering them that height and possibility of Smodric playing off him, because Sammy Smodric has scored 21 goals in the Championship this season. I mean, he's a goal machine.
Yeah, he's in a rich vein of form, and everything will be aimed at Gallagher. He's a big lad, and you've got the likes of Schmoditz and Dolan who'll be feeding off him, so it's important that we track runners.
Now, I know you all can't wait to hear Adil Ashish. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, because first we're going to hear the post-match thoughts from the Cardiff City Stadium of Sunderland. That's what you do. You keep them in, keep them hanging. The post-match thoughts of the Sunderland interim head coach, and you understand this. Mike Dodds. Mike, I suspect your remarks following today's game are going to be a lot different from those following
for us.
The Queen's Park Rangers game.
The lineup, the lineup is up there. It's
I think the
on
goal
the
is
pinned
a
post.
big goal psychologically.
Ruben Iswe after Whittaker from Plymouth when Clark goes 20 plus goal winner.
Game was a
Viv 73. Hi Cabby and everyone, how are you doing? You alright? Welcome to the channel.
In the performance. So I've said it a few times. I think one result is going to take us in a completely different direction. I'm hoping that is the case, but I also felt if we scored first, that would settle the group down, and it really did. I thought we were excellent with the ball, and the QPR game compared to that was kind of poles apart, really.
Clean sheet as well, a couple of goals. You could have had a lot more. It could have been a lot more comfortable than 2-0 suggests, because clearly second half they were going to come out with a lot different, a lot stronger, and a bit more pressure.
Yeah, look, it's 2 clean sheets back to back. You know, the QPR performance wasn't a good performance, but you know, the facts are the facts. You know, it's 2 clean sheets back to back now, which I think you know, the whole group deserve a lot of credit with. I keep using the phrase, I think it was a thoroughly professional performance. If I'm being really kind of critical of them, I think we could have scored more goals. I thought we got into really, really good areas. I think, you know, 18 shots on goal against a team that is, I think, are really, really well coached. I think they're really well organised. They've won the last 3 games here, so we knew it would be a really difficult performance. I think that's no mean feat, and I think that says just how good the performance was. And on top of that, you know, they're top of the league for set pieces. They've scored the most amount of goals from set pieces, and I felt defensively we, I know they hit the bar with one opportunity, but I felt we completely nullified all their threats.
You spoke beforehand about Job having a rest, and I think he looked revitalised. I mean, I thought he had an outstanding game. And Ashish, and you'd spoke about how you'd spoken to him a week or so ago, and he's looking transformed. I think he was probably arguably man of the match, because he just covered the distance, he covered the grass.
Yeah, I think with players, in particular young players, I think they want clarity. And I've had a couple of maybe people would perceive difficult conversations with some of the players. I thought Pierre was as good as I've seen Pierre for a long time, and we've had some kind of honest conversations. Adil, when I took the job on, you know, we had a really honest and frank conversation around the things that he needs to do to get in the team. I thought Abdullah out of possession, that was the best we've seen him out of possession. You know, I'm conscious around naming too many, because I thought, as I go back to my point, it was a really professional performance. I thought it's amazing what a win does in terms of people's lens and perception. Job's a second-year scholar, should be playing youth team.
Have you been to Crook before, Cabby, in your travels? I haven't,
Chris
no.
Wing's a first-year scholar, should
I've
be
not
playing
been to
youth team
Crook
football.
before.
And we've just come and won 2-0 with effectively 2 youth team players on the pitch. So the club should be really, really proud of the direction it's going in.
It's a close, quick turnaround for the Blackburn game. Are you thinking of changes just because it was a leggy match today because of the weather, which obviously played its part as well. And you got that back, and you didn't put Evans on the bench today, but I presume Blackburn is probably the key game for him.
Yeah, I think you've got obviously Adji, you've got Pat, you've got Corey. They're all in full training, but like I've just said previously, is we've got duty care for them. We can't just throw them in because we've not had some positive results. We've got to stick to what we believe in terms of the way we're working. And naturally, you've got
80 people in watching. Any subscribers? Any new people, please hit the subscribe button.
But that's a decision we'll make.
22 likes. Let's see if we can get over 50 likes before half time.
Blackburn's going to be a really, really tough game. I think the coach.
Thanks, much appreciated.
The coach has got them really, really well organised.
I think Anth will be coming on as the
similar to us, but alongside of some results, and I think some of their performances have probably been better than the results suggest. So we know it's going to be a really, really tough game.
Yes, Summer.
But I've kind of laid the gauntlet out to the lads there, saying, look, we lose on Monday evening, and no one actually care about this performance. So that's the reality. So we've got to go again Monday and make sure it's a really positive Easter weekend.
Total Sport North East.
Live from the Stadium of Light.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Right, there you go, Mike Dodds. Let's now hear from Adil Aushish. I spoke to him. He didn't speak much to me. This was his post-match reaction on Friday afternoon. Adil, how enjoyable was this afternoon's game?
It was a really good game from the team, for me as well, of course, because I score, I give assist for job. It's my job. It's the job of the 10 of the team, and for me it was really good performance from the team today.
You took the penalty, and I think we assumed Job was going to take the penalty. Whose decision was that?
No. When the referees, I don't know, when the referee gave the penalty, I just take the ball and just no think, just take the ball and shoot to be confident, and I will score.
That's probably the best thing to do, so nobody takes the ball off you.
Sorry?
That's probably the best thing to do, is to take the ball before anybody else
no.
takes it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you took your penalty well. There was no nerves.
No, well, very good.
You've got back in the team now. I think you had a couple of difficult months with the new coach Michael Beale when he came in, before you got back into the team with Mike Dodds. Has it been a difficult few weeks for you?
Yes, it was difficult. When you are the player and you never play, but never or little bit play, it's very difficult for me, for some people. And now with Doddsy, he gave me a chance, and I give him back.
Mike Dodds said he had a very honest conversation with you.
Yes, all the time.
And I think watching your performance today, you gave 100%. You covered every blade of grass. I think, to use an English word, you were knackered.
Yes, yes, of course.
Does that give you confidence now going forwards for these last games of the season?
When we give me the confidence, I can show my talent, can show all my talents to just that.
And is the number 10 where you prefer to play rather than wide?
For me, all the position in the middle, in midfield, and just I prefer single 10 and be behind me 2-6. I like it.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
An illuminating interview there with Adil Aushish.
I tell you what,
lovely lad.
To be fair, credit to the lad, he's done really, really well.
He has.
You know, you're talking about somebody who's just come to this country, not being able to speak a word of English when he arrived. I think he did very, very well.
We have to remember as well, and I think this is right, I think I'm stand to be corrected, but I think we're still in Ramadan, and I think he's still fasting.
Yeah, he is still fasting.
So put that performance on Friday into perspective. He's fasting, and he put in
fantastic performance,
an incredible burst of energy, and it's a quick turnaround to today, and he starts again this afternoon.
Yeah,
it'd be very interesting to see if
how,
an impact.
How he handles it. Yeah, definitely so.
I think the rain's held off the last couple of hours, but it's still very dank, grey, miserable Easter Monday. So it's, I guess, typical these days, isn't it? As soon as the holidays arrive, the weather changes bar yesterday and the weekend. But just waiting for the appearance of the two teams this afternoon. As I say, Blackburn Rovers flirting with relegation now, having last season been on the fringes and almost made the playoffs at the end of the season. As Pridey was pointing out a little bit earlier on BBC Radio Newcastle, Sunderland with Leicester's defeat of Norwich, still within technically reach of the playoffs, but it's 10 points to gap, so it's still quite a big ask. They'd need to go on a phenomenal run now until the end of the season, but they are getting players back. Patrick Roberts starts this afternoon, and Jack Clark is in the squad as well, as the two teams emerge from the tunnel, and Sunderland will be in their red and white stripes. Blackburn in their blue and white halves as they stroll out here, led by referee John Busby, who refereed the corresponding fixture back in September when Sunderland won 3-1. So see if Sunderland can do a double over Blackburn Rovers this afternoon. Now the stadium looks pretty full. I wouldn't say it's going to be anywhere near probably what the 41,000 will be posted later, but it's not looking bad actually.
It's a fantastic crowd. You know, you got to remember, Nick, Championship football, you know, getting over 30,000 week in, week out is great for the supporters and the football club.
It is. The pitch looks great. It's taken a lot of rain in the last 24 hours, but it's looking in very, very good condition. The only mark really is where Blackburn Rovers have been warming up down in the corner, southwest corner, and they've taken the grass off the top of the surface. Other than that, looks good as Sunderland peel off their tracksuit tops. Blackburn came out already in their match kit, and Sunderland line up.
I'll tell you what, I've not seen that for a long time.
What's that?
The goalkeeper and somebody warming him up.
Oh, kicking balls at him from the 6-yard line.
Yeah.
Driving them at
that used to be done in the old days,
it is,
but now
it's very much something that used to happen. Sunderland line up then, Patterson in goal, Hume, O'Neill, Ballard and Styles, Neil, Ekwa, Roberts, Aushish, Mundell and Jobe. The benches: Bishop, Pembele, Hamir, Burstow, Barr, Clark, Rigg, Kjelder and Dack. And Blackburn Rovers pairs in goal: Britton, Hyam, Wharton and Pickering, Tronstad, Rankin, Costello, Hedges, Schmodic, Dolan and Gallagher. Blackburn in a huddle. Sunderland just taking up their positions for kickoff as referee John Busby just strolls out all in black to the centre circle. The huddle breaks up for Blackburn Rovers. Sunderland will kick off. They're defending the north end of the stadium in this first half. In fact, they'll change that round. Blackburn are going to kick off now as Aushish wanders away from standing over the ball on the centre spot. Blackburn will kick off, defending the Roker end in the first 45 minutes. And we're underway. The ball pushed back into midfield, out wide on this left-hand side to Tyrese Dolan, who was playing up front in the defeat by Leeds United in the last game out. Well, the defeat by Ipswich, sorry, in the last game out. And now out here on the left-hand side of central defence, Scott Wharton, who plays the ball down the wing, and out it goes over the head of Dolan for a throw, which Hume takes to Equa, back to O'Nien, who whips this up towards the halfway line, drops back down to Dan Neil, swings it in the air, headed away in the centre circle by Dominic Hyam, and then eventually runs away from Sam Gallagher and is tidied up by Callum Stiles on the far
Right, hi guys, I'm back. I just had to say to my daughter, I put myself on mute, and let's enjoy the commentary.
And out wide, inside, on the halfway line, comes back on the right to Hyam, across to Scott Wharton. Interestingly, the back four, all four of the Blackburn defenders this season have been sent off at some point.
Have they?
Yeah. The ball played out wide again by Blackburn Rovers, halfway inside the Sunderland half. Mundle tries to put the press on and force the ball back to the halfway line. Blackburn trying to get it forwards again, and now it's picked up in the centre circle by, on this left-hand side, Sondre Tronstad, the Norwegian midfielder who's got one cap to his name. Dan Neil has won the ball back for Sunderland and plays it out to Mundle on the left, just the left edge of the penalty area, back inside to Neil, then Stiles on the left, whips in across, and now Shish's header. Unfortunately, it was a good one, but straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and it was good that we had men in the box, didn't we?
Yeah.
Shish and Job was in the box. Good crossing by Stiles.
Something I think was noticeable on Friday as well. They were getting more bodies in the box. As the ball...
He was offside.
It's dropped to Ballard. I think if the ball had dropped to Gallagher, the flag would have come up. But it's now here on the right with Luke O'Nien pushing it on here to Roberts, who turns it away. Ballard to Neil, back to Dan Ballard, and then back again to Patterson just outside his penalty area, and Ballard pushing it short to Equa just in front of him, and out then to Stiles, down the touchline to Dan Neil, who's gone wide, and then inside to Equa, looking for Job on the halfway line, and eventually it bounces through and it'll be gathered at the edge of the penalty area by Pears, who taps it out through Dominic Hyam into midfield. I'm assuming that's Rankin Costello initially, because the numbers of the Blackburn players, it's red on blue and white, they're not the easiest to read, but Hedges has just laid a ball off wide on the right. I think Hedges has continued his run, crosses, but caught by Patterson, rolls it out quickly here now to Dan Neil, and Neil in the middle of his own half just switches it over to the right hand side to Aushish, is in his own half still, plays it behind him to Hume, Equa, and now O'Nien closed down in the middle by Smodic. 27 goals this season for Sami Smodic, 21 of them in the Championship. Here's Equa wide on the right, on halfway, looking to thread it through to Aushish, cut out though in the middle by Scott Wharton, and now played across and through the centre to Ryan Hedges on halfway, on the centre spot almost, looking for Dolan on the right, headed away by Hume, picked up now by Roberts into the Blackburn Rovers half, and plays it straight across to Dan Neil, who's tackled, comes back to Dan Ballard though, Gallagher slips, picks himself up quickly, and Neil plays it out sweetly to Mundle on the left wing, inside to Roberts, an exchange with Mundle, he plays it into the penalty area, it comes around the back of Job though, into the hands of Pears, who's in lime green this afternoon. 5 minutes played. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Now back with the goalkeeper, Pears, passing it out through Wharton and wide again to Tronstad, I think that was. Or is it played on now into the path of Aushish. Aushish out wide, then left on the far side. Mundell's trying to come inside now. He's got Ekwa just behind him, but he plays it straight into the hands of Pears, straight ahead of him.
Yeah, comfortable save by Pears. At least it was on target by Ekwa.
I'm slightly puzzled by the Blackburn back four, because the team sheet has it. Is that Pickering with a number 3 or a number 6? That is It's numbers hard to pick out. I'm assuming that is Pickering. It is Pickering, isn't it? That is a number 3. Pickering playing it back to Wharton, back again to Pears, out to Hyam. Hyam bringing it out. He's got the fullbacks wide. Britton's on the right touch line, chips one in the air, looking for Hedges to chase this, but Styles has got front of him, and Styles is pulled down by Ryan Hedges, and it's a free kick to Sunderland. Hedges, the Welsh international, 3 caps, signed from Aberdeen a couple of seasons, 2 seasons ago. 0-0. Styles taps it back to Dan Ballard. Ballard to Patterson, who's on in yellow this afternoon, and he passes it out to 09 at the edge of the penalty area, the corner of the box. Brings it out into the centre. Smodic goes to close him down, as did Gallagher, but he swept a high ball down the left wing, looking for Mundell, who battles with Britton down almost in the corner now, and Britton eventually managed to get his foot around it and out for a throw to Sunderland.
Yeah, well done, Mundell.
In the 8th minute, here's Aushish again, trying to dribble down the left and into the penalty area, but showed a little bit too much of it, and in the end it's smashed away by Callum Britton, out for another Sunderland throw. It'll come from Ballard on halfway, or is he going to leave it for Styles? He leaves it for Styles, is jogging back now. Blackburn, whose last away win was on November the 25th at Stoke, where they won 3-0. Here's Job, runs into
free kick.
Tronstad, free kick to Sunderland in the middle of the Blackburn half. Their last win was on February the 10th, and ironically that came at home to Stoke, who they beat 3-1. That's their last win. Since then they've lost to Birmingham, they've lost to Swansea, and they've lost to Ipswich on Good Friday, and they've drawn with Preston, Cardiff, Norwich, Millwall, Plymouth and Middlesbrough, and technically they drew with Newcastle in the FA Cup as well.
And this is the same team at the start of the season was top of the table, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. So the free kick will be taken by Callum Styles, just left of centre, halfway inside the Blackburn half. Taps it to his right to Dan Neal. Neal swings a ball to the left of the penalty area, headed in by Ballard. The keeper went to try and get on the end of it, was under pressure, punches it behind. It's a corner to Sunderland. Now Sheesh causing problems in the penalty area. Carlisle 0, Lincoln City 1. I think Carlisle could technically get relegated this afternoon if they lose, after a tremendous win over Peterborough on Good Friday, and they're now losing at home to Lincoln. Here's then Aushish with the corner at the Roker end on the left. Socks rolled down as always, swings this in, the water splashes up from the quadrant. It's headed in the air, headed again in the air by Ballard, and then trying to get on the end of it Roberts. It's headed out. It is a bit. Neal tries to bring it down, and then it's headed away from Luke O'Nien by Dominic Hyam for another corner.
You've got to say that the balls in, the quality of ball in from the set pieces,
it'd be much better lately.
A lot better, because Ashish is taking him.
Yeah. Now Sheesh then short to Roberts on this right hand side from their second corner. Roberts trying to find a way through, finds Aushish behind him, good ball in, looking for Ballard, headed away though. Again, I think by Hyam. Aushish heads it down the right again, finds Roberts. Dolan goes to close him down, places it back to Aushish, and he swings another good ball in. It's flicked across the penalty area by Gallagher, and out for a throw to Sunderland. Taken quickly by Job. Back to Neil, and into the centre circle to Ballard, and O'Nien's alongside of him, swings away backwards, turns in the direction of play and keeps his foot on the ball, then taps it to Dan Ballard, back again to Patterson, closed down by Schmodic, and then he gets the ball out only as far as Tronstad, who's hustled off the ball by Ekwa, finds Aushish, trying to play it through the gap for Job, cut out at the last minute by Wharton, and the ball comes back up here on the left for Pickering, appeals for handball, or to Wharton, appeals for handball, now back to Hyam, and Dominic Hyam, who won his first cap for Scotland last summer, looking for Dolan, ball runs away from him, back to Patterson. Out quickly from Patterson to Neil. Neil takes it over the halfway line, leaves it for Aushish. Aushish dribbling at Tronstad, I assume that is. It's laid off then to Mundle. Behind him Styles, behind him Neil. Neil coming forwards again. Edge of the area on the left. Mundle tries to cross, blocked by Britton, another corner. Sunderland applying some good pressure in this opening 12 minutes.
I think what we're seeing now, Nick, every time the ball goes wide, what we're trying to do now is put the ball in the box. Yeah. Where previously we didn't, because we didn't have a target in the box.
And they seem to be wanting to play it from the back quicker as well. A little bit more urgency about Sunderland's play. Aushish with the corner again from the left, as he swings this in again.
Good ball.
And it's down on the head of Job, who heads it down, and Hedges clears it. Into touch. But the interesting thing is, again, that the Sunderland player won the first ball in the box. It wasn't as if it was cleared immediately. Throw from Hume, flicked up by the heel of Roberts, and a foul then on Schmodic. And the free kick just outside the penalty area on the left, which will be taken by Scott Wharton. Blackburn born, of course, his brother Adam, who was sold, wasn't he, in the summer?
In the window.
Oh, was it in the window? Was it in January?
He's gone to Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, that's right. Highly thought of. I know Tony Mowbray used to praise Adam Wharton to the skies, said that he was a real talent. The younger brother of Scott, who's 26. Hooked on by Dan Neil from Pear's clearance. Schmodic lurking up front alongside Gallagher. It comes back on halfway, Hyam. And Hyam inside to Tronstad, and then down the right to Britton. Squeezed by Mundle. It's played back inside to Tronstad, the Norwegian, who's going to try and find Pickering on the left wing. Takes it on his chest, hooks it over the top, looking for Rankin Costello, but no, Nyan got in front of him but couldn't keep it in. And Rankin Costello looks winded, or what's he done? He's certainly winded. Crouching down at the moment, Joe Rankin Costello, a former Manchester United youth player, 24-year-old. Referee's come across for a little word, but it's going to be a throw to Blackburn. 0-0 in the 14th minute. Pickering to Rankin Costello, and he puts it on his right foot, crosses to the far post, and Patterson stretches and catches it under no real pressure. Again, out quickly to Dan Neil, back to Ballard, and Ballard then lays it off to Styles, back to Patterson. Patterson closed down by Gallagher, who is playing after being sent off. Sorry, playing after a knock, in a couple of games ago. Now Ekwa wins it, found Aushish, and now Ekwa again. Good ball to Styles, who's whipping on into the Blackburn half. He's got Aushish to his left, to his right, and it's stabbed away. Drops to Dan Neil, who hooks it back to Roberts on the right side of the penalty area. Can't keep it in. And it bounces out behind for a goal kick to Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah, difficult ball, especially on this surface, just skips off.
Yeah.
Greasy.
Still looks murky, the afternoon, grey, misty. 15 minutes played, Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. The ball comes back to Pears, a 25-year-old, pushes it out to Wharton, lays it off to Pickering, back to the goalkeeper, passes it to Hyam. Hyam now, just a short pass to Tronstad, and back on the right, Hyam, and out to the right wing, Britton on halfway, tries to find the Norwegian again, Tronstad, comes back to Hyam and back to the goalkeeper, Mundell looks to press, Pears puts it over the top of Mundell to Hyam, who's wide on the right, up to the halfway line, looking for the run of Hedges, and it's won in the end by Britton, after Styles dived in to make a tackle, down the right again to Hedges. Hedges taking on Ballard on his left, swings it into the back of the area, and Rankin Costello, his first shot blocked, and it's cleared then by Aushish as it came back down at the edge of the area. Nodded down by Wharton here to Pickering inside to Dolan, and Dolan plays it into the middle. It's just laid off by Britton to Tronstad and out wide to Hedges on the right wing. He's taken on Callum Styles at the edge of the penalty area on the right. Looks to try and cross, blocked by Styles for a corner to Blackburn, their first corner of the game.
Yeah. You just think that Sunderland just need to up the tempo a little bit.
Yeah, showed signs they can get in behind, didn't they? So, is it Pickering going down to take the corner? Hard to. Yeah. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The left back is
left foot.
Going to take it with his left foot. Yeah, from the right side at the north end of the stadium. Swings this in swinger. Ballard heads it away from the 6-yard line. Dolan brings it down on the right. Mundell's in front of him. Dolan's taking him on. Mundell blocks, drops to Roberts. Trying to find Mundell again. And it comes off a Blackburn player for a throw to Sunderland.
And you know what we're going to say, which we say most games, the tempo is flat, isn't it?
It's dropped flat. I thought they started brightly and it's just sort of dipped a bit. You know, initially they got in the box a few times, but now it just seems the pace has just dropped off. Now Sheesh is trying to speed it up again on halfway. He's tackled though, and then sliding in is Neil. Concede a throw to Blackburn.
He's gone down, hasn't he?
Yeah, Pickering.
Yeah.
Pickering's sitting in the middle of the pitch in the centre circle. Referee's just jogged back to see what the issue is.
It's a substitution.
Yeah, they're going to make a change, aren't they?
Yeah.
Blackburn forced into a change as early as the 19th minute. Who will come on as...
McFadden, is it?
Yeah, Carl McFadden. No, it's Ben Cresceni. Ben Cresceni, the lad on loan from Aston Villa, signed from Exeter. He was Exeter's youngest ever player, 15 years, 7 months and 1 day old when he made his debut as a substitute against Cambridge in January of 2020. So he is coming on for the injured Pickering.
Is he a left back?
He's a left. He plays left back and left wing. 20 years old now. Was on loan at Kilmarnock last season. So Pickering is walking off, but he's clearly picked up a knock of some description.
Yeah.
Just a murmur, hum round the crowd. As you say, that sort of reflects the way the pattern, the way the game's gone in the first half, hasn't it?
We need warming up, Nick. That's what it is.
They need a spark. We're in the 20th minute now, and Cresceni is on. Drop ball from John Busby to Dominic Hyam, and here now to Wharton. So out to Cresceni, who gets his first touch, plays it back to Wharton quickly whips it away from Job, who went to close him down, across to Hyam on the far side, and then to Britton just ahead of him on the touchline, back to Hyam just inside the Blackburn half, and down the right again to Callum Britton, former Barnsley teammate of Callum Stiles, who's just a few yards ahead of him. The ball headed down here to Rankin Costello, back then and eventually through to Dolan in the middle, who tries a low shot, drives it wide, a foot or so of the left post from 20 yards. Gallagher slaps the hand of Dolan, but it's still 0-0 in the 21st minute. And as you say, it's just suddenly gone really flat.
It's flat. I need a sparkle from somewhere. From something.
Feels like it's just dropped off a cliff, doesn't it, the game, as Ballard drives the ball up to halfway. Mundle heads it down just behind him to Ashish, but Blackburn have won it back. And Britton drives this up, looking for Schmodic. It's cleared, though, by Ballard to Mundle, who's under immediate pressure and tripped up on halfway. And a free kick to Sunderland. Now, the Blackburn, Hedges has got entangled with Mundle. Both of them pick themselves up, and a free kick will be just inside the Sunderland half on the left-hand side. The applause, which is the loudest we've heard of anything in the last 10-15 minutes, is for Jack Clark warming up. Down below us here at the bottom of the West Stand, in his long overcoat and yellow bib, as Wharton nods the ball down away from Job. It's flicked on. Gallagher is beaten in the air by O'Nien, who comes flying past him to head the ball forward, but then now Dolan is trying to get past Hume on the left wing. Closed down by Roberts, looks here for the run of Rankin Costello, but O'Nien's there just to smash the ball into the advertising hoarding. Bradley Dack warming up as well with Barr and Clark. Here's Cresceni, plays it to Rankin Costello, and back on halfway, Wharton on the left. Job trying to cut out any ball played inside. It's played up to Gallagher, though, in the penalty area, is offside. Free kick to Sunderland. On Saturday, Blackburn at home to Southampton. As Blackburn looking anxiously over their shoulders, 42 points. Plymouth behind them on 41, Birmingham on 39, Huddersfield then, who are in the last of the relegation positions, on 39, Sheffield Wednesday, who are second bottom, on 39. So it's an absolute dogfight at the bottom of the table to stay out of the bottom three. Another free kick, foul on Dan Neal, quickly taken by O'Nien, but and Roberts just puts his arms in the air. Well, what was that? Saying, just calm down. It went straight out for a throw to Blackburn Rovers, and
I think that just sums it up, a little bit of frustration.
Ellis Sims has scored again for Coventry. Coventry won, Cardiff 0.
That's 19 games, 14 goals.
Incredible, isn't it? And that's all in the second half of the season, pretty much, aren't they? Coventry a game in hand on Norwich, and 4 points behind them. They'll close the gap to 1 if they win this afternoon. That's with better. A game in hand.
That's better closing down.
Down on the left
the field.
Now Ashish. He's halfway inside the Blackburn half. Lays it off behind him to Dan Neal. Neal back to O'Nien in the centre circle. Forwards again on the left to Ashish. Ashish in the middle, trying to find Job. Under pressure, the ball comes back out here now, and Dolan digs it out, lays it off to Cresceni, who plays it back to the goalkeeper. He passes it out to Ben Cresceni again, and he's under pressure from Roberts. Roberts has got the ball off him, slips it inside to Hume, back to Roberts behind him, and Roberts tackled by Dolan, and then Hume puts a foot in, and now Sheesh picks up the loose ball, plays it behind him to Ekwa. Ekwa through to Job again, a strong challenge in the back of him. and it's won back eventually in midfield by Blackburn Rovers. And on the break here now, out to Smodic on the left-hand wing, and he's looking up for the run of Gallagher in the middle. He tries to slip it through, and it reaches Rankin Costello, takes a deflection, in fact 2, and lands in the arms of Patterson. They were all a bit out of sorts at the back then, with Blackburn intercepting play and winning the ball. Drops back to Patterson, has the ball at his feet, and he swings it up to the halfway line. Cresceni takes it on his chest, taps it back to Dominic Hyam, just outside the centre circle, across to Britton on the right, and back again to Hyam in the Blackburn half. As now Dolan, well, no foul, says the referees, as he tries to skip past Trey Hume. He looked to be clipped, gets back up on his feet, but it's a throw to Sunderland. Referee John Busby indicating it should be taken a little way back further than... he's actually given it to Blackburn.
Yep.
Cresceni takes it to Smodic, who's come right back onto the halfway line, just swings his foot through it back to Wharton, across to Hyam. Hyam now looking for the run of Gallagher or Smodic. It's dropped for Ekwa, behind him is O'Nien, forwards to Roberts, and out here on the right to Hume. Inside again to Roberts, quick ball back to Ekwa. All this on the right hand side. Ekwa looking for Aushish on halfway, came off him into the path of Rankin Costello, back out on the left to Cresceni, and out for a throw to Blackburn Rovers again, just inside their own half in the 27th minute. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Live here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Back tomorrow night. Total Sport building up to the 7:30 at St James's Park. Newcastle United against Everton with Razor and Ando. As the ball played wide to Britton, just short of the halfway line. Inside again to Tronstad and then to Wharton. Wharton back to Pears, who's come outside his penalty area. Plays it to Hyam. Hyam up to the halfway line, into the Sunderland half, slips it to his right to Britton, back to Tronstad on the halfway line, right of the centre circle, out to the right wing, couldn't keep it in over their hedges. It's a throw to Sunderland, halfway inside their own half.
We need an injection of some life into this game, Nick.
Yeah. Someone needs to show a little bit of ambition.
Yeah, and as it sits at the present moment, it suits Blackburn, doesn't it?
I think they're more than comfortable, aren't they?
Yeah, it suits them.
They're not letting Sunderland get in behind them. They're getting the occasional counter-attack, opening Sunderland up a little bit, but they don't seem to be playing in out of second gear at the moment. No. The ball headed out by Styles.
And they're growing with confidence, that's what they are doing.
Throw taken by Blackburn, Tronstad down the line, Hedges back to Britton. And he's on the touchline, slips it inside to Ryan Hedges again, and he tries to find Dolan. Dolan onto his right foot, closed down, gets into the penalty area though, and just lays the ball off to Britton on the right, back to Dolan, right side and inside again to Rankin Costello. Dolan behind him is Tronstad, out wide again to Britton, slips it back inside, and Dolan then plays it against Neal, who tries to get the ball out for Mundle, and it comes off a Blackburn man. Britton, I think, for a throw to Sunderland, just short of the halfway line. Drops to Aushish, Mundle ahead of him, back to Aushish, tumbles over the Blackburn player. Play goes on, Smodic trying to get on the edge of it, end of it, but Hume gets it to Roberts, he slips, and Dolan whips the ball off him, flicks it through now here to Cresceni down the left of the penalty area, back to Dolan in the box, he slipped it through here to Smodic, and he scored. His left foot under Patterson, right side, and his 28th goal of the season comes in the 29th minute.
And you know, you could feel it coming, Nick. You know, they were growing with confidence. They played with a little bit more tempo, especially around that 18-yard box. And it was a well-worked goal, but a good finish by Smodic. But again, Roberts losing the ball.
That's where it all came from, wasn't it?
But at times we're too slow. You know, the way we move the ball, then we come back on ourselves. There's no tempo to it, where you've just seen Blackburn, they win the ball, and all of a sudden they string 3 or 4 passes together, get behind us, good finish.
Well, he gets goals, we know that. We have been mentioning his record this season. That's his 22nd in the Championship this season. Phenomenal record. He's whipped in there, took it on his left from Dolan's pass and under Patterson into the bottom right corner. And so Blackburn Rovers now lead, coming up to the half hour, by 1-0. As you said, and we were saying, leading up to that, they were playing in second gear. Yeah. They were starting to get in behind.
Getting confident. Now it's a wake-up call. Now we've got to up our game now.
Yeah, Sunderland have got to come from behind now. We'll say point to Blackburn's record under John Eustace, that they're yet to win under him. And I mentioned the 6 games, 6 draws in 9 games. So Sunderland have got to feel confident they can get back in the game, but they do need to up the tempo. O'Nien plays it here to Ballard on the right. Coventry 1, Cardiff 1. Here's Hume. Inside to Ekwa. We're in the Blackburn half. No goal from Cardiff, and Gallagher's caught by Ekwa. Free kick.
You've got to do better, boys.
It's quite a contrast to Friday afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, are you going to use the excuse that we're a little bit leggy?
Well, I don't see. I mean, there's an argument. Blackburn had the early kickoff, didn't they, on Good Friday? The lunchtime kickoff. Sunderland played in the afternoon. But I mean, that's very tame. It's tame as an argument. Neil plays the ball through straight to Wharton. It's picked up though by Mundle. Mundle skips away from one challenge. Mundle's going on. The advantage played by the referee. He's tripped at the edge of the area, just outside the D. It's a free kick to Sunderland. And finally, when a player takes it on and runs at them,
with a bit of pace,
we get a result.
You know, we go forward, we get the ball, and then you're being positive, being a little bit direct. Too many times we receive the ball and we want to come back on ourselves, being too sure.
Free kick then, 24, 25 yards out, just left of centre, and Sunderland, good opportunity to try and get themselves back in the game. We've just heard Cardiff get back in quickly against Coventry City. Can Sunderland do likewise against Blackburn Rovers, who lead here 1-0 in the 33rd minute, live on BBC Radio Newcastle? Referee's having a word with Rankin Costello, who's had to step backwards now and join the Blackburn wall, 12 yards out.
Hit the target. That's what you got to. Don't hit the wall.
So 22, 23 yards. I'll readjust my measurements. Sheesh drives it straight at the wall. Ekwa drives it in. Ballard trying to get on the end of the ball, which ran through, but I think had he made contact with it, he'd have probably been offside, actually. Blackburn get the ball clear. Hume plays it down the left. It's a throw to Sunderland. Styles takes it, drops to Neil. Neil back to Ballard on the halfway line. Blackburn still leading 1-0. 33 minutes played. Mundle wide on the left, back behind him. Hume, who's playing out on the left-hand side at the moment. Then Mundle's gone down at the corner of the penalty area, but no foul, says the referee. And it comes back to Ballard on the halfway line. Out to O'Nien, and now Roberts on the right wing. He's got to try and come past Crescenny and Dolan. The pair of them win it back. Crescenny breaking here to the halfway line for Blackburn Rovers in their blue and white halves. Ahead of him is Tyrese Dolan, and Dolan now to the corner of the penalty area, looking for Crescenny, and he's put the ball behind after a challenge from Roberts. Corner, says the...
He's given a free kick.
Oh, he's given the free kick. It looked to me as though that was in the box, but he's given the free kick right on the edge of the penalty area. I think the Blackburn fans think that's controversial. That looked to me like it was in the box, if that was a free kick.
And then you're thinking, was it a free kick? Yeah. He's had a little bit of contact.
Yeah, there was contact. There was a nudge. It forced Crescenny to put the ball behind. And John Busby says that was just outside the penalty area. Rankin Costello places the ball.
Tell you what, this is a bonus for him. We're expecting that. Can't go 2 down, Nick.
Not now.
Give yourselves a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Come on the edge of the box.
35th minute. Bit of a discussion taking place. Šmodić is in there having a word and then jogs back into the penalty area. He's only 5'6", Sami Šmodić. The edge of the area. Sheesh just in front of him. Gallagher's in there as well. Dolan's in space on the 18-yard line on this left-hand side. Britton and Rankin Costello over the free kick. Left edge of the penalty area, 3 or 4 yards from the goal line.
Just be careful.
Gallagher's making a lot of movement. It's driven in hard, and then in the end it's hooked in the air by O'Neill. It was driven in along the floor, and the initial sting taken out of it, and O'Neill managed to hook the ball away. Britton back to Dolan though on the left wing. He's trying to get the ball inside here now to Rankin Costello, who gets round O'Neill. 2-0, and it's a second for Szmodic, is it? 3 or 4 yards out, the ball whipped back in, and Patterson left with no chance really at all. 36th minute, and Blackburn double their lead. Szmodic with his second. He just whipped in and flicked it in under Patterson. Sunderland at 6s and 7s.
You're still asleep, Nick. You're still asleep. The way this... I don't know how he got round 09 on the touchline.
No, Rankin Costello.
You know, but he did. But a good pull back, and there's again Szmodic on the spot. Good finish.
So the goal machine, 29 goals now this season. Remarkable. The former Peterborough, Bristol City and Colchester United striker, 28 years old. Well, he's now notched up 29 goals. And Blackburn in the box seat, as they say, heading into half-time. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. Sami Szmodic on a hat-trick, a first half hat-trick, as the ball played through here now by Dolan on the left edge of the penalty area for Hedges. Hedges pulls it back here to Szmodic. He's laid it off again, comes back here to Rankin Costello, and Patterson gets his body behind it.
We are all over the place.
It's like they're queuing up now, Blackburn Rovers.
Terrible, absolutely terrible.
And Sunderland are a shadow of the team that played on Friday afternoon at the Cardiff City Stadium. 38th minute, Ballard.
And you go back to the last home game which we played here against QPR.
Yeah.
You know.
Hume here on the right, trying to thread it through to Jobe, cut out comfortably by Wharton. Inside to Rankin Costello. Behind him is Hyam, across to Britton, back to Dominic Hyam, back out to Britton on the right-hand side. Mundle goes to close him down. Hooked out, straight to Styles, then Mundle tumbles over, no foul. Styles.
You know, they've got something to hold on to now, Nick.
Oh, got 2 goals to hold on to. The mountain for Sunderland to climb. On this evidence, they've got to show complete transformation in the second half. Is Ekwa now to Neil, finding Styles, back to Neil, trying to thread it through to Aushish, and then on the left, Mundle trying to pull it back here, straight to Cresceni on the penalty spot almost, and he clears it. And here now with O'Neill on halfway down the right-hand side. He's tripped, is he? No.
Tell you what, excellent work that by Szmodic.
Picking himself, he's on his knees at the moment, Szmodic, and he's hurt. Just punching the ground, just crouched. Sami Szmodic, 2 caps as well for the Republic of Ireland to his name. Sami Szmodic, Colchester born, began his career with Colchester United.
We were linked with him once, I think, when he was at Peterborough.
What if? Yeah,
ifs,
isn't it just?
But again, you're just thinking Sunderland are asleep, aren't they?
Very much so. I mean, Szmodic, it's remarkable, 29 goals in a team that are 3 points off the bottom 3. He's still receiving treatment in the 40th minute. We'll have a few minutes added on because there was treatment earlier on as well to Harry Pickering. He went off injured to be replaced by Ben Cresceni.
Well, you look at both ends, Nick. You know, Patterson's he's had to make maybe a couple of saves. You know, conceded 2 goals. What have we? Pears
hasn't really been put under duress, has he, at all, in the first half? A reminder, Total Sports back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on BBC Radio Newcastle. Simon Pride with Ando and Marco ahead of the game between Newcastle and Everton tomorrow night. And there's open training here at the Stadium of Light on Wednesday morning between 9:30 and 12:30. Always popular during the holidays. And next Saturday, Sunderland at home to Bristol City, as Szmodic gets to his feet and gets to the touchline. John Busby urging Kruseni to come on, get on with the throw. Szmodic sits to get some treatment off the pitch. We're in the 41st minute. Blackburn Rovers leading 2-0. Hume gets the ball from Michael Proctor to take the throw. Back it goes to Luke O'Nien. O'Nien into the middle to Dan Ballard. Ballard just lays it off to Dan Neil. Neil brings it up to the halfway line, then short pass forwards to Styles, goes out off a Blackburn boot. Ryan Hedges. Sheffield Wednesday losing 1-0. So from Blackburn Rovers' perspective, the scorelines are good. Middlesbrough scoring an own, well, Sheffield Wednesday scoring an own goal at Middlesbrough. Here's Mundle to Ekwa, back to Neil just behind him in the Blackburn Rovers half. Blackburn leading 2-0. Szmodic looking to come back on now. So at the edge of the pitch, here he comes. It comes back to Ballard in the centre circle. Ballard in the red and white stripes of Sunderland against the blue and white halves of Blackburn Rovers to Styles. Styles head down, trying to find the gap for Joe, but it's cut out. Here's Rankin Costello looking for Szmodic here on the left wing. Inside his own half still, but he floats it over the top, looking for Gallagher, headed away by Ballard, straight to Dolan. Dolan's beaten to it though by Hume, and Hume now turns, plays it inside to Dan Neil. Neil, urged to push on, plays it across to Styles on the left wing, into the Blackburn half, just back to Neil. And now to Ekwa, just left at the centre circle, through to Aushish. Neil looking for the run through here into the penalty area on the left, and it's come back through from the left hand side from the run of Styles.
Too hard.
But he just whipped it back too forcefully, and it's swept out for a throw. This on the left, halfway inside the Blackburn half. Ben Kruseni comes to take it. The referee's just said no, step back a few yards. 43rd minute, Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. Kruseni down the line. Hume heads it on. Aushish trying to knock the ball on, but it's won back by Hyam to Britton. Puts his foot through it. It'll float out for a throw to Sunderland on the left inside their own half. And Styles back to Ballard with the throw across to O'Nien. O'Nien bringing it on. Ekwa just ahead of him, back to Ballard. Plenty of people heading to the concourses for half-time. One hopes they come back. Here's Mundle. The overlap down the wing from Neil, but Mundle cuts inside. Mundle into the centre, tries a shot. A little bit wild, very wild. It's gone halfway between the corner and the goal. Still Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 2.
And then you're thinking, out of all the players, he's the only one who sort of seems as though he's going to give us a sparkle, is Mundle.
The one that's prepared to run at people.
Run at people, play with a little bit of tempo, bit of pace.
Stoke 0, Huddersfield 1. So just shows you how critical these goals could be for Blackburn.
I think he'll make a substitution at half-time.
Would he? Do you think he will bring on Clark? Do you think it'll be?
Yeah, he'll have to do something.
His hand will be forced, I think, Mike Dodds, to a certain extent. The ball drops to Britton. Foul on Hyam by Job, says the referee.
You've got to find a different way of breaking them down.
And I mean,
it worked against.
If it's Clark, is it at Mundle's expense or is it at Roberts' expense?
Well, you know, you look at Patrick Robertson, you're thinking, what has he done?
He's not. He gave the ball away for the goal. First goal. It's.
Oh, you change something in the middle of the park, where we're going to be a little bit more, shall we say, direct, positive.
Gallagher's under pressure from. Ballard's under pressure from Gallagher. Has just fouled Ballard. It's a free kick. Fourth official now shows we'll have 6 minutes.
You know, sometimes we're too safe at times, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, we either play it square or we go back on ourselves. We play it backwards rather than getting the ball and see if we can go forward. But to do that, you need players who's going to make runs, movement up front.
It's that sort of tame Sunderland again, isn't it?
Yeah.
That beast, rather than the more aggressive pressing team that we saw at Cardiff City on Friday afternoon.
It suits Blackburn.
Of course it does. They're 2-0 up now as well.
You
They've got something to hold on to.
They're thinking, okay, you play in front of us. You're not really hurting us.
No. O'Nien in the centre circle in the first of those 6 minutes. Neil just ahead of him. Flicks it to Job, back to Neil.
No.
Neil now looking for Roberts on the right wing. Takes it on his chest. Taking it on Cresceni across the back of the area, slips it to Neil in the penalty area, blocked, the ball in the air, hooked away by Hyam, nodded by O'Nien to his left to Styles, down to Mundle at the corner of the penalty area, looking for Styles' run down the left of the box, back out to Mundle, and the cross blocked and out from Callum Britton for a throw to Sunderland, which Mundle takes quickly. Ballard inside to O'Nien at the front of the centre circle, squares it to the right. Hume to Roberts, back to Trey Hume, and Hume across the pitch to Ballard in the Blackburn half, taking it on, pushing on, leaving it now for Styles, and Ashish, who tried to whip it up into the penalty area because Job and Ekwa were there, but it caught by Pears. 2-0 Blackburn lead in the 47th minute. Pears happy to bide his time in his orange gloves and lime green kit. He throws the ball down with his right foot up over the halfway line onto the head of Ballard, straight down to Rankin Costello, looking for Dolan, cut out by Hume, to Roberts. Roberts now on the halfway line into the Blackburn half. He finds in the middle Hume again, survives one challenge, gets the ball out to Mundle on the left hand side here. Neil making a run down the left, Mundle cutting across the back of the area, blocked by Rankin Costello, nodded down by Hume to Neil at the edge of the penalty area on the left hand side, and he's pulled it back for Mundle. Mundle back behind into Ekwa. Ekwa trying to find a way in, passes it right through the penalty area behind for a goal kick. Blackburn getting bodies back behind the ball. Mike Dodds in his post-match interview said Friday's performance would be soon forgotten if on Monday evening they've lost to Blackburn. They're trailing 2-0 now, and Cardiff seems a long time ago. The kick from Pears. It's this Jekyll and Hyde Sunderland we're watching this afternoon. Neil brings it down, loses it. Rankin Costello through the middle here of the Sunderland half, out to Dolan on the left-hand side. Smodich calling for it in the penalty area on the left. Here he is again, but he's beaten to it by Hume, who slides in and puts it out for a throw. 49th minute. Cresceni comes down to take the throw.
No rush.
No need to. No need to hurry, have they? Finds Dolan, back to Cresceni. Cresceni twists, plays it back out to Dolan on the touchline, trying to cut inside from Hume, still has it Dolan, flicks it through, but Hume's got in front of him now, and O'Nien hooks the ball away, back up towards the halfway line, where Wharton heads it back to Cresceni down the left-hand side, trying to flick it through for Rankin Costello, who wrestled to the floor by Ekwa. In fact, they were both as guilty as each other. The referee, now there's a little bit of afters here. Dolan wasn't particularly happy, but in fact it might have been Gallagher, I think, that was involved, and the referee's having a word with Dolan. And with Ekwa. Free kick which Luke O'Nien will take in the 50th minute. Plays it to Ballard to the left. Ballard bringing this up towards the halfway line. Lays it off to 09 on the right-hand side here. Over halfway into the Blackburn half. We've played nearly 50 minutes now, and the ball's given away again here. Rankin Costello and Schmodic is on the break. On the right, being chased by Ballard. Schmodic gets there first. He's trying to slip it inside here. Styles gets a foot to it. 09 heads it away. And it'll be a throw to Blackburn on the far side.
So nearly got punished again. Roberts giving the ball away.
In the last minute of the 6th, throw to Blackburn Rovers on the right-hand side.
That third goal would definitely have killed the stadium.
It would have done. And Britton's taking his time with the throw. Schmodic trying to work some space, so is Hedges. Finally drops to Hedges, plays it back here behind him to Britton. Britton gets to the goal line, it's taken off him. Mundell's going to try and bring this out. Finds Aushish, back to Styles, now to Neil. Neil out to Ekwa, who's beaten by Rankin Costello in the penalty area down the right. Styles wins it back from Britton. Patterson hooks it clear. Seconds left of the 6 minutes being added on, and in fact there goes the half-time whistle. Not unexpectedly, boos ring out around the Stadium of Light, and it can't be this time the referee who's at fault. It's Sunderland themselves who are at fault for going 2-0 down to 2 Sami Schmodic goals.
And you're just thinking, I don't know, you can blame Friday, but it's the same for both teams, Nick. You know, you can use Fridays as an excuse that we played Friday, 1 or 2 of them feeling leggy. It's the same for Blackburn, but they look sharper. They want a lot more than us. They're playing with a better tempo. You know, again, you cannot afford to be strolling around because you're going to get caught out, which we have been. You know, Eckert has not been at the races in the middle of the park.
Well, I think, in fairness, Roberts has been exposed.
Yeah, he's
on
been
his
exposed.
Return. Eckwert's not been at the races.
You know,
Mundell's been the one bright spark who's actually tried to take players on.
Job's been struggling to get into the game. We haven't seen anything from Ashish. Defensively, at times we've been all over the place. And as the game's gone on, you're looking at Blackburn and you're thinking, how come they're in the position where they are in the league?
I'll give Ashish some credit for his set pieces, corners, the 3 of them.
Indeed.
But they need to, yes, I think as you outlined a few minutes.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what's going on here, lads and lasses. Blackburn Rovers fighting for their lives. They want to stay up. Sunderland have got now to play for. They're not arsed, they just want to turn up for the training game. Blackburn Rovers simply want it more. You can tell they're more alert, they're quicker to everything. They're just trying. They're here to win. Sunderland have just turned up today, and all they're bothered about is, well, we're just going to turn up and have a kickabout. We're safe. You know, hell with all the fans that's turned up. Do you know what I mean? Hell with entertaining anyone. It's just disgusting as far as I'm concerned. Cheers for the subscribers there. You know, all the fans that's turned up and paying the money to watch that. Seriously. People are spending hundreds of pounds. I mean, they're not just living in Sunderland, they're travelling from all over the country. You think you'd be proud putting a red and white top on, running out there to do your utmost hardest to get that win for the fans. But they're just not bothered, are they? They're just simply not bothered. Ah, dear. It's wrong. But that's exactly what's going on. Blackburn just want the game more. They want to win. They're trying utmost hardest. We are just not bothered. We're just simply not bothered with it. It's middle of the table syndrome. Can't go up, we can't go down. Let's just hell with it, basically. I'm going to read through some of the comments. David Jackson says, well, SCFC Dreamers went. Crowd go home at half time in protest.
321 333. Start your message with the letters BBC. That's if you're on WhatsApp.
David Jackson says, had 51 years of this bollocks. Unfortunately, I could never support another team. Once it's in your blood, it's in your blood, isn't it? Aldo RFC really thought Sunderland had a chance of promotion before Michael Beale came in, and ever since he has joined and left, Sunderland are in a mess. Too big of a club to be still in the Championship. Thanks a lot, mate. Good luck for the Premier League and the Scottish this season. He's doing well. Aaron Curl, shocking this. Really thought Cardiff was a turning point. Oh, I was wrong. Same old crap. Dreamer says, we are run like an unleague club. Ken Udale says, no forward thinking in the back players. Jonathan, still none. Derek says, me too, David. I'm 70. Dark days ahead with these runners in the squad. Yes, Pet? Push it forward, darling. David says, how much money has this club took off loyal supporters for this rubbish? Not for the first time. Dan Neal's been shocking, says Marianne and Carl Taylor. How you doing, Marianne and Carl Taylor? Hope you're well. Kevin Taylor says, disgraceful. Dreamer says, what excuses this time? We must have a run out. Even Dick Turpin wore a mask, says David. Kev Ball, yep, you've hit the nail on the head. Really dispiriting. Thanks for the feed. Not you're welcome, Kev. Doug said he's had enough. He's going for his morning walk. Elliot, Riggs and Clark on. Get Roberts off. Curtis Turkey, I think the squad is good but not perfect, but we need a stronger manager. We haven't got anybody, have we, that can motivate this team in this dressing room. I mean, have you heard Dodds when he speaks, man? I mean, how's that going to motivate anyone? Absolutely. Well, it is April Fool's Day, said Simon. Yeah, absolutely.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
So let me take you into League One then. Blackpool 0, Wycombe Wanderers 0, Bolton Wanderers.
How many saves has the Blackburn keeper made? I think the keeper went off after 3 minutes, and they've had no goalkeeper in for the whole of the first half. Don't need one, do they?
Cambridge United 1, Wigan Athletic 0 at half time. Carlisle United could be relegated today. They trailed.
Jonathan, done it very matey, fine.
It's Charlton 0.
Stead says we look more tin pot at the moment. It's embarrassing. Stephen Martin says, I'm 64, now I'll never go to a Sunderland game again. I'll still listen for the results, that's about it. I'm not wasting my money, I don't blame you. I've got a new attention this cabbie sell a lot. David Jackson says, Roy Keane, I think, is the rocket this team needs. And Colin Major says, I would like to know what this 20 million loan is for. Sounds suspicious to me. Yeah, that doesn't add up, doesn't it? What do you reckon, Jacob, and that, and Dav to that? What do you think that 20 million's actually for?
It's Harrogate Town 0, Gillingham 1, Morecambe lead Barrow by 2 goals to 0. It's Newport 0, Crawley Town 2, Notts County 1, Milton Keynes 1. It's Stockport 0, AFC Wimbledon 0, Sutton 1, Swindon Town 0, Tranmere Rovers 1, Colchester United 1, Walsall leads Salford City by a goal to 0.
Total Sport.
The Newcastle and Sunderland AFC podcast
on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Into the National League, and the match we're most interested in the National League has been postponed. AFC filed against Gateshead. It was postponed as well for a short time before kick-off. But clearly the pitch over in Lancashire not deemed to be fit enough for a game this afternoon. So a bit inconvenient for Gateshead fans who travel down there, and they're going to have to squeeze in another fixture now into a rather congested calendar as well. Gateshead, so that one's off. Elsewhere, through the other National League scores for you. Aldershot 1, Dorking 0, Altrincham 1, Oldham 0, Barnet 1, Oxford City 0, Bromley 0, Woking 1, it's Chesterfield 1.
It's one of them games where you could quite happily just decide, like, I'm going home, and you can put your mortgage on it that we'll not score this afternoon.
Bournemouth 0, Wealdstone 0, Solihull Moors 0. In the National League North, the 2 games of interest to us Well, firstly, South Shields are away at Curzon Ashton. They trail by a goal to nil. And Black Spartans are now 2 down at Chorley. Chorley scoring just before half-time there, so not going particularly well for our clubs in the National League North. We will keep you updated, of course, in the Northern Premier Division.
Big Ray wouldn't take this lot. Yeah. Chris says, I stay up till midnight to hope we win here in Tokyo. Yeah, I know. I hope I'm wrong, Chris, but I just can't see where the win's coming from today. It's just Blackburn just want it more than we do. It's going to have to be a massive mental change. It's all about mental today. That's what it is, mental. Blackburn, come on. We need to stay in this division. Let's fight for every ball. Mentally, it's mental. Sunderland have well, then let's just turn up, shall we? Exactly what's going on. Keane would have had the hairdryer going right now. You're not good enough for the shirt or the paying fans in the stadium. Yeah, you're welcome, Aldo. Neutral fan says everyone can see that Blackburn wanted more. Of course, it's obvious all over the place. Absolutely obvious. Needed a Canio, someone who will not take any crap.
It's been all Stockton, but it's constant of getting the 2 goals on the break. Looking forward to the second half.
But have you seen, how can Dodds motivate anyone? Have you seen him when he's talking or giving interviews or press conferences? It's like Peter Beads, he's been on a bong for 3 weeks. I mean, oh man, how are you going to get motivated with that?
Dunstan had a man sent off. Dale Pearson after just 6 minutes. Despite that, they took a half-time lead. Michael Pearson.
Roberts has just been non-existent. I need today.
So they led by 2 goals to 1. However, they won't play the second half because of the conditions in East Aycliffe. That game has been abandoned. It's been called off, so they'll have to replay it. East Aycliffe 1, Dunstan 2 at half-time. But match abandoned. So the weather playing havoc this afternoon is playing havoc as well.
Kilday speaking, spend more money. Miss Mowbray, we only need a striker back then. Jack on, Roberts off, but I don't think even Jack could save us today. Damn the Horse Fiddlers are 2-0 up. Come on, Sunderland. Sunderland till I die, says Dreamers. Damia says he probably doesn't talk like that to the players. So it's just like Bale Kilday's puppets. Well, you would hope Dodds isn't like that to the players, wouldn't you?
Kelly Scott.
Saturday and Sunday mornings from 10.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And this is Simon Pride back in the Total Sports studio, back for the second half at the Stadium of Light. Very shortly, Sunderland trailing by 2 goals to 0 to Blackburn Rovers. I've just seen some photographs of the pitch at Newton Aycliffe as well. A few puddles. I mean, I'd still play in that, but obviously it's a little bit different when you're at the standard of the Northern Premier League East Division. So Newton Aycliffe against Dunstan has been abandoned. Let's reflect now a little bit before we go back for the second half on Saturday's football here on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's been a very, very busy Easter weekend for us, and we had a bit of a thriller at St James's Park on Saturday. Newcastle coming from 3-1 down to beat West Ham by 4 goals to 3, and the Magpies head coach Eddie Howe was left delighted by an injury time winner from Harvey Barnes.
This is Barnes, beats his man, Harvey Barnes! Oh, yes! Harvey Barnes! What about that?
You've had some great moments here, but how special was that feeling when the ball hit the net from Harvey Barnes?
Yeah, similar feeling, Razor, to Leicester in our first season when we were battling to stay in the league and Bruno scored that memorable header. That was a moment that I'll always remember, and I think Harvey's will go down in a similar viewpoint in my mind, where we were under the cosh, difficult moment, different reasons of course to that season, but just a similar feeling at the end. And I can't thank the crowd enough for what they did for us today, especially at 3-2 when they really, really got behind the team and made a huge difference.
And in what's been a challenging season for the team and for the club, Harvey Barnes has had it particularly tough, hasn't he, with the injury problems after a big move last summer. How pleased are you for him that he was able to help turn it around for you today?
Delighted for him. Again, you see behind the scenes, you see how disappointed he's been, how hard he's worked to get back. The frustration when you go to a new club that you want to show everybody your skill set and what you can do, and he's been denied that opportunity through injury. But the Luton goal was never lost on me. I thought it was an incredible finish, and that got us a valuable point. But the two today, hopefully, will give him the lift off that he needs.
Yeah, Eddie Howe, a happy man on Saturday afternoon. That win did come at a bit of a cost. Skipper Jamal Lascelles, the latest injury casualty for Newcastle United. He will need surgery on his knee, so he's going to be out for up to 9 months. It's a nasty ACL injury. Tomorrow night, of course, Newcastle are back in action. They host Everton. We will be there. We'll have commentary. Total Sport will be live from the ground as well. And we'll also be reflecting on this afternoon's game at the Stadium of Light too, of course. Let me just bring you a few other snippets of sports news before I hand you back to Barnsley and Benno. In the snooker, firstly, the Tour Championship, which features the top 12 players of the season so far. It's underway in Manchester. Gary Wilson leads Mark Selby by 5 frames to 3. At Wallsend's Gary Wilson going well so far. John Higgins leads Mark Allen by 4 frames to 1. And just to very quickly tell you as well about the basketball, the Newcastle Eagles yesterday beat the Leicester Riders by 96 points to 91. I'll be back at full time. You can have your say with Benno, but the second half from the Stadium of Light coming next.
Total Sport North East.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
The team's emerging for the second half and just trying to establish any changes.
No changes,
neither side. But predominantly,
here we go at the start of the second half. If we dare put up with more. Thanks to everybody tuning in. If you can just click the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you're new.
2-0 up, and in the driving seat, Sunderland need to step up their game. It's been Jekyll and Hyde between Good Friday afternoon at Cardiff City and this afternoon against Blackburn Rovers, where, of course, Cardiff, they were 2-0 up at half-time, and in this situation, Blackburn are 2-0 up at half-time. And the same thing will be said there of Sunderland. We'd expected Cardiff to come out in the second half and show a different side to themselves. Sunderland, likewise, have got to do that now, here, this afternoon in the second half.
And how important is that next goal, the third goal?
Oh, critical now,
and it's important that Sunderland get it.
So Sunderland, Patterson in goal, Hume, O'Nien, Ballard and Styles, Neil, Ekwa, Roberts, Aushish, Mundell and Jobe. And Blackburn, they were forced into a change in the first half. Pears in goal, Britton, Hyam, Wharton and now Cresceni at left back. Tronstad, Rankin, Costello, Hedges, Szmodic, Dolan and Gallagher. And Sami Szmodic on a hat-trick. He's scored 29 goals this season now. He's scored 23 of those in the Championship. As Blackburn defending at the moment, north end of the stadium in their blue and white halves. Sunderland at the Roker end in their red and white stripes. The ball headed inside by Gallagher, looking for Szmodic, but won back by Dan Neil. Gets it out to Roberts on the right, lays it off to Hume, back to Hume from Roberts, and Hume cutting inside now, playing it back to Ballard at the front of the centre circle. Neil out to Styles on the left, and Styles just inside the Blackburn half, down the left wing to Mundell, back again to Ballard, and Ballard through the middle. Ekwa now driving on as much as he can and try to play it through past Hedges, who's come away with the ball, now looking for Gallagher down the right here. O'Nien's having to get back, Gallagher's still going, slips it through O'Nien's legs, through into the penalty area here to Hedges. It's 3-0. We're 2 minutes into the second half, not even that, and it is 2-0, 3-0 to Blackburn Rovers.
Game over. You know, again, another mistake, and you get punished for it. Ekwa, you know, how many times have we said, you know, especially in the first half, he's given the ball away.
Yeah.
You know, he's given the ball away again. They break, all of a sudden, overload, and Hedges simple, slide it past Patterson.
Well, through the legs of O'Nien, Gallagher, and into Hedges' path. and he scores from 6 yard. So
obviously what he said at half-time didn't work
at all, did it?
No. A shambles, absolute shambles.
You said it at the start of the second half. The next goal is the most important, and now Sunderland are 3-0 down, and well, there are people leaving. I'm watching the concourses, and there are people starting to drift away in the Roker end. They're leaving in their droves, starting to leave from the east and north stands, and Blackburn Rovers 3-0 up.
Give the ball away again,
and here they go again. Hedges now tripped by Ekwa, wins the free kick. And
tell you what, you've got to show some character now.
Indeed.
You're 3-0 down. You know, the question is, what are you going to do about it? That's the question you're asking.
It's extraordinary how you can go from one performance like that at Cardiff. As Jack Clark's warming up now. Carlisle 0, Lincoln 2. Free kick clipped forward into the penalty. Schmodic is offside. Misses anyway.
But, you know, again, Nick, you know, we can't get carried away from one performance at Cardiff. You've got to remember that we lost 6 before that.
Yeah.
We drew 1. We drew against QPR.
Yeah.
So we can't just say all of a sudden we've turned the corner.
Bradley Dack and Jack Clark are both warming up. Here's Ekwa again, closed down by Rankin Costello, plays it back to Ballard, to Styles, and now back to Ballard. Out to O'Nien on the right-hand side, further forwards, Hume. West Brom 0, Watford 1 in the Championship. And reminder that Carlisle are 2 down to Lincoln City. Here's Mundle looking to get forwards on the left, but whipped the ball off him, Wharton, and hooked away by Hyam, and played on out for a throw to Blackburn Rovers on the right-hand side, and it's it's Callum Britton who's going to take the throw. I was distracted then by the handout of the drinks as O'Nien cuts out a ball in the centre, rolls it to Hume. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 3. We're in the 51st minute now, and the ball goes out for a throw to Sunderland on the far side. Back to O'Nien, forwards to Roberts being closed down by Dolan, forced across the pitch, plays it over here on the left-hand side to Styles, now to Mundle. Mundle looking to...
Nothing.
Well, can't go forwards, too many blue and white shirts in front of now. Ballard, it slips away from him, Schmodic was on his shoulder, he recovers and gets the ball to Luke O'Nien. And down the right-hand side to Hume, lifting it over the top, looking for Job, who's offside. Free kick to Blackburn Rovers.
He can't get in the game, Bellingham.
No.
Can't get in the game. How many touches has he had?
When he did, he always had a defender right up behind him.
We can't break him down.
No.
And then when they do win the ball, tell you what, they break with pace. They get men forward, they're willing to run.
Yeah. And it's a free kick then to Blackburn Rovers with Ainsley Pears, a Durham-born former Middlesbrough keeper, son of former Borough keeper Stephen Pears, takes the free kick down the left. Ekwa goes shoulder to shoulder with Gallagher. It comes back to Rankin Costello, drives it forward over the head of Schmodic though, back to Anthony Patterson, who was left absolutely defenceless for all 3 goals. They all came in 6 yards.
If I was Mike Dodds, I'd make changes now.
Well,
it's a waste of time.
Certainly trying to warm up Rigg, Dack and Clark. Clark's headed down the tunnel actually, as here's Ballard bringing the ball out, plays it to Roberts, it's gone out, throw to Blackburn on the right wing.
You've got to make changes.
John Eustace will be absolutely delighted with this. This is potentially, and I say potentially, it's probably almost certainly his first win in charge of Blackburn Rovers since taking over on February the 9th.
How easy though.
And here's Ballard as the throw dropped over Gallagher's head. And it slipped away from Styles. Gallagher puts a bit of pressure on him. He puts the ball out for another throw to Blackburn Rovers down the right, a few yards from the touchline. In fact, he's gone back 20 yards.
Yeah,
Britain.
when we talk about character, this is now you're talking about a young, inexperienced team here, trying to get back into the game.
Schmodic's trying to get on the end of it on the right side of the penalty area. It bounces off him. Mundler let it run out. He realised Schmodic it was going to be a Sunderland throw. Couldn't get to it. Plymouth 0, Bristol City 1. Sunderland's opponents.
Oh, you've nicked again.
They lost the ball again here, and Dolan's trying to get through, and Dolan scores. Tyrese Dolan hooks it in from inside the 6-yard box in the 54th minute. Sunderland now 4 down.
I tell you what, it's watching schoolboy football here. Schoolboy football. Again, they've lost the ball.
He had the appetite to dive in, jump in, get the ball off the defenders and hook it across the face of Patterson to the far side off the post.
Dan Neil losing the ball there.
Yep.
And then how easy it was for him to dance through and poke the ball in under no pressure at all. And now you're making substitutions. It's too late. You're 4-0 down.
Dax coming on for Aushish.
Riggs coming on. Clark's coming. It's too late.
Yeah, you're right. You're 4-0 down.
You're 4-0 down and you're making 3 substitutions now.
And the stadium is emptying.
You're not.
Mundle's coming off Clark.
I'd be very surprised if you get back into the game.
Oh, I'd be amazed. At least Jack Clark gets a cheer. It's the only cheer so far for Sunderland this afternoon. It's Roberts who's coming off. So a triple change with Sunderland trailing 4-0.
Nick, we said half-time. You expect to make a couple of changes at half-time. You go 3-0 down, then you're thinking, okay, make changes. You can't make, making changes at 4-0 down. I don't know what he's expecting, but who knows? That's just me.
Just being seen to do something, I suppose.
But you're talking about some players who have not been in this position before.
Here's Clark on the ball now. He's trying to skip through the middle. He's fouled by Dolan. Free kick to Sunderland inside their own half. 10 yards short of the halfway line. But Blackburn Rovers, well, they've done everything. They've won the game, haven't they? I mean, it'd be an absolute miracle if Sunderland were to get something from this.
Schmoditz will want to get his hat-trick.
Of course he will. Ball swung up to Joe Rigg trying to get on the end of it, but away comes Hyam. And he brings it out and plays it out wide to Dolan. Dolan takes it into the Sunderland half, checks, plays it back into his own half to Cresceni, the first half substitute behind him, plays it back to Walton, across here now to the right-hand side where it's played out to Britton by Scott Walton, and back to Britton, and back again to Pears, the goalkeeper, and he, from the right side of his penalty area, kicks up over the halfway line, bounces through to Ballard, heads it onto Ekwa, and here now on the right, played back to Britton by Hedges. They play it between each other again, and then Britton comes across to the left side of the penalty. Hyam and Walton have switched sides as centre-backs. Cresceni now forwards to Dolan again. Ekwa lunges in here to try and get the ball back off Dolan, who's got it on the touchline, eventually shuffled out by Ekwa for a throw to Blackburn Rovers.
And it's interesting listening to Michael Dodd's interview after the Cardiff game, that they won the game with 2 youth players. Well, I'll tell you what, it's just like Blackburn playing against the youth team this afternoon.
Yes. Free kick to Blackburn on the halfway line on the left, on the touchline, back through Cresceni to Walton. They've switched back again now, Hyam and Scott Walton. Hyam out to Britton on the right touchline. Clark goes to close him down. The ball back to Pears, the goalkeeper. Job and Dak outside the penalty area. Walton out to Cresceni on the left wing. And Smodic is just waiting in the middle for this. It's won though by Dan Neal. Back to Luke O'Nien. And Neal, Smodic in front of him, plays to his right to Hume on the halfway line. Down the line to Rigg. Rigg back now to Hume, across here to Luke O'Nien. And forwards to Jack Clark. Clark trying to get away from Britton. The ball finally out off of Styles for a throw to Blackburn Rovers. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 4 in the 59th minute. Still over half an hour to play. 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Not even that, 9 minutes. Callum Britton waiting to take the throw here for Blackburn Rovers. Luke O'Nien's down now, clutching his ankle. The referee just pushing Rankin Costello away. Ballard pushing him away too, flicking his hand at Rankin Costello. Away. And Luke O'Nien's back up on his feet.
It's going to be a long half hour.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I don't know what must be going through Mike Dodd's head at the moment, strolling about in his technical area, his baseball cap, hands in his pockets, and there's a battle here between Styles and Gallagher. The ball comes back to O'Nien, it crashes off Gallagher back into the path of Ballard, who puts it out. Throw to Blackburn. Mike Dodds hands Britton the ball, and he tries to find Gallagher, who's got Styles and O'Nien sandwiching him, and then Clark is tackled. The ball falls to Hume though, and now Ekwah through the middle pushes it on to Job on the left hand side here. Job
needs help.
Definitely needs help. Back inside to Ekwah, puts the left foot through it and just past the post. Not a bad effort from Ekwah, but inches wide. And his left foot shot. Still 4-0.
How many saves has Pears had to make?
Not many. Not many. A couple straight at him, weren't they, in the first half? Harrogate 1, Gillingham 1 in League 2. Here, Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 4. Britton with a throw in front of Mike Dodds down the line, and then foul by Gallagher on
if he's raised his hands, it's a booking
right in front of the assistant.
You know, what's the lino doing?
The assistant's flag is down, the referee blew. O'Nien's lying with his hands on his face. Britton comes across to speak to the assistant. The referee leans over Luke O'Nien. It's been brewing, that, hasn't it?
I know.
The referee's coming out of the pack for a word with the assistant and ushering the players away. O'Nien's picking himself up off the floor.
They're not going to do anything.
I'm watching John Busby now. He's called Gallagher to him and he's having a word with Sam Gallagher. And the Devonian's pleading his case as he's been spoken to. No action, you're right. The ball dropped to the floor. Luke O'Nien's been spoken to now by John Busby. Luke's coming off the pitch, or the side of the pitch, to getting a gel. The referee is looking over his shoulder, wondering what he's doing. He's desperately trying to open this energy gel and take that. And now Callum Britton is drying the ball off on his shirt, and it'll be a throw after all that to Blackburn Rovers. This throw on halfway on the right hand side. 63rd minute, BBC Radio Newcastle, Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 4. And the ball back to Hyam, Dominic Hyam.
Yeah, you just got to watch Luke O'Nien.
It flares up.
Yeah.
Down the right, Hyam hooks the ball up to Callum Styles, gets it away from Gallagher. Won back though by Blackburn Rovers. Then there's a foul on Gallagher by Styles.
What you don't want is getting a man sent off, Nick.
Well, they want to try and lay a finger on Blackburn Rovers in one sense, don't they? 4-0 down, they can't
4-0 down. Should have
afford to
should have been done at the start.
Yeah. Wharton closed down by Dack. Ball breaks though for Cresceni. It's pushed out by Rigg. Throw to Blackburn Rovers on the left wing. And you know, in the first half we were talking about Blackburn Rovers playing a second gear. When they went 2-0 up, they barely had a chance to come out of first gear in the second half, and they were 4-0 up. Here's Wharton whipping it forwards for Schmodic to chase on the shoulder of O'Nien, who gets it back to Patterson. Passes it out to Ballard, closed down immediately by Gallagher.
Look at them.
Played out though on the touchline, yeah, and Dolan straight on the case. It comes back to O'Nien. Hooks it high in the air, headed away by Wharton, back up towards Schmodic. And Styles had to win that header because Schmodic was through. Now a free kick to Sunderland for a push in the Sunderland half. Birmingham 1, Preston 0. So all the teams at the bottom, I think, are winning this afternoon, largely. And it's Rochdale 0, Hartlepool 1. It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Watford 2. Here's Ballard bringing the ball forwards. Wide on the right now to Hume, played off. Dolan plays it on, flicks it on for Rankin Costello, but Ballard's got it back here. Trying to flick it through for Jobe in the penalty area, but Hyam's there, turns it away from Jobe and plays it off him for a throw to Blackburn Rovers. Harrogate 2, Gillingham 1 in League 2. Here at the Stadium of Light in the 65th minute, Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 4. 25 minutes to play. Throw down the line from Blackburn, turned inside by O'Nien to Dan Neil. Dan Neil back here in the centre circle to Styles, trying to cut through the middle.
You need some runners.
He lifts it over the top, looking for Rigg. Offside. Chris Rigg. Stretched to try and control it with his right foot.
At least he's made a run and got behind.
Yeah. And it's the goalkeeper, Ainsley Pears, will come out and take the free kick for Blackburn Rovers. The referee, I think, trying to get Pears to get on with things. And throws the ball down. The stadium is emptied probably by about half. And the kick headed away by Ballard. Back into the Sunderland half. Drops away from Dolan. It comes back for Hume to battle with this and get it away from Gallagher. Back to Ballard. Ballard, there's going to be a change for Blackburn Rovers. They're going to bring on Andrew Moran, who's on loan from Brighton, the midfielder.
Yeah, not bad player.
Irish lad. It's the 66th minute now. Applause for Tommy Linn. Eckwa's down. It's a shame that the stadium wasn't fuller for Tommy, but they applaud round the whole bowl for Tom Linn, who so sadly passed away this week, aged 66, only 3 weeks after his retirement, and well known to so many Sunderland fans. Tom Linn, remembered by many, known by many too, as the substitution made for Blackburn, and Andrew Moran's on for Sam Gallagher. It's Coventry 1, Cardiff 1, Coventry 2, or whatever it was.
No, Coventry 1, Cardiff 2.
Is it? There we are, we got there in the end. And here's O'Nien. Back to Patterson. Harrogate 3, Gillingham 1. Out to Ballard. Schmodic went to close him down. Trying to break is Hume, blocked by Dolan. Has to come back into his own half. Plays it back behind him to Ballard. And to O'Nien in the middle. Out to Styles here. Swansea 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. So yet another team
down the bottom
winning this afternoon as Eckler wins the ball from Moran. Gets the ball through, but only to Britton. And now trying to get it away down the right through Hedges. And knocked out by Clark for a throw to Blackburn Rovers. Sunderland still not really laying a finger on Blackburn.
You're just
now
thinking,
West Brom 1, Watford 2.
Yeah, you're just thinking Pierre Eckler is not having the best of games.
No.
Well, not just him.
I don't think you can just point the finger at him alone, can you?
You look at the goals we've conceded, it's been our own mistakes.
Well, they've all come in the 6-yard box. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Giving the ball away.
Yep.
Roberts.
Rotherham 1, Millwall 0. Even Rotherham are winning at the foot of the table, rarely. They're usually about 3 or 4-0 down by half-time, but they're 1 up against Millwall. Here's Clark on the left-hand side now for Sunderland, dribbling in onto his right foot across the back of the area, tackled by Moran. And Moran bringing the ball out on the right-hand side here, and the young Irishman playing it straight at like Luke O'Nien, who finds Styles, flicks it to Clark, wide on the left. Plays it back here to Neil, inside to O'Nien, back to Neil. And Neil back again to Dan Ballard. Ballard to Hume. Hume lifting up over through the middle, looking for Dack. He gets a touch to it, does it? It comes through to Clark off Dack's head in the penalty area, rolls it right through the 6-yard box, and there's nobody there. Fantastic ball from Clark, and absolutely nobody there in red and white to put it home.
Great ball.
The goal was gaping. 4-0 still to Blackburn Rovers. I'm amazed even that there are people still left. As I look around the stadium. Ball picked up for Rigg, trying to battle for it, and the ball goes behind for a goal kick to Blackburn Rovers. Sunderland feeling that that should have been a goal kick, but they're not going to get that.
Can't even win that.
An afternoon truly to forget. Here's Hedges down the right wing for Blackburn, tackled by Clark, throw to Blackburn Rovers, just down from Mike Dodds. And Britton finds Schmodic through to Hedges, battling for this, but lost it to Neil. Through the legs of Tronstad to Dack, looking for Joe, but it bounces off his shoulders, still trying to get on the end of it in the penalty area. Goes down way too easily. Has to pick himself up, the ball out here on the right. And it's Middlesbrough 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Hyam plays it across the face of Wharton and Rigg. Crescenny plays it back inside. It's passed away past Job, out in the middle to Tronstad, and then to Crescenny, and then Dolan on the left wing. And Dolan plays it back to Tronstad, to Dolan in the middle of the Sunderland half here now to Moran. Hedges wide, plays it to Hedges on this right hand side. Hedges at the edge of the penalty area to Moran again, slips it back inside to Hedges, trying to waltz through, and it comes up off Dan Ballard into the hands of Patterson.
How easy is that?
I thought he was going to walk it into the net then. I thought he was going to walk a fifth in from close range, but they've got the ball out here to Clark, Sunderland. Now to Styles, back to Clark, and control it in front of John Eustace. It goes out for a throw to Blackburn Rovers, just inside the Sunderland half in the 72nd minute. Britton to Dolan, back in the Blackburn half, back down the line to Hyam, across to Wharton. Wharton. The Seagulls now take on the mantra of vultures, circling Sunderland above the pitch. Back to Hyam, lifts one down the right wing, looking for Hedges on the shoulder of Styles, knocks it back to Moran, into the middle here to Rankin Costello, and he chips a ball into the penalty area, looking for Dolan, drops over Riggs' head. Dolan just casually runs across to the top touch line and just traps it there on the line, and Rigg pushes it out for a throw to Blackburn. There's another double change being made now by Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah.
It's
Dylan Markakande.
Yeah, Dylan Markandi, who's a winger, who's going to come on. He's coming on for Rankin Costello. He's actually made quite a nuisance of himself this afternoon.
And John Buckley's coming on.
And John Buckley, the 24-year-old midfielder, will be the other change. And he's on for Hedges, is he? Yeah. So they put on 2 sets of fresh legs in the 74th minute. Markande, a former Spurs youth player, had a spell on loan at Aberdeen the first half of this season. And John Buckley, 3 goals in the League Cup for John Buckley, the 24-year-old midfielder. Carlisle 1, Lincoln 2. Here is Buckley laying the ball off on the left. It's played up straight into the path of Dan Ballard. Wharton has gone to the left wing. He's got a track back now. Hyam heads the ball away, drops for Hume, plays it inside to Ballard, and Ballard plays it to O'Neill, and then out to Styles on the left-hand side, down the line to Clark. Markandi tries to get in the way of it. He wins it here from Styles. Markandi trying to get down into the penalty area. Well tackled by Clark. The ball rolls behind for a corner to Blackburn Rovers, their second of the game.
The amount of mistakes we made this afternoon. Mitch, you know, you will make mistakes, but it's the reaction.
They've been punished heavily by
you've got to react when you lose the ball, and we don't.
In fact, their reaction is to give the ball away. Buckley's going to take this corner. Dolan's down there with him on the right, southwest corner at the Roker end, a near deserted Roker end. It's taken short to Dolan, and Ballard Rigg tries to make a tackle, but he's pulled down, Chris Rigg, and it's a free kick to Sunderland. And Patterson taps it to Styles. Markandi tries to close him down, comes to O'Neill, across to Ballard on the far side of the penalty area, back to Patterson. Now to O'Neill, to Neil. Neil out wide to Clark, just keeps it in, back to Dan Neil. And then again, O'Neill to Ekwa, to Neil. Neil back to Patterson. Blackburn 4-0 up into the last 15 minutes of the game. Here's Clark. The ball shuffled off him by Markandi, back to Britton, out to Markandi again inside to Tronstad.
Too easy.
And now taken down by Moran, spins away from Job. Job's trying to get it back, gets a foot to it, finds Styles. Persistence from Job, now Clark. Rolls back to Job, inside to Ekwa, who's sived down by Buckley. Free kick quickly taken by Ekwa, finds Neil. Neil with Hume on the run down the right. He turns the ball into Dak, heads it down, and it could be a one back by Rigg. Dak persisted, the header down, Pear's got a hand to it. Rigg came flying in, smashes it home, and excellent. Sunderland pull one back.
Well done, Chris Rigg. Well followed in.
They've now got 14 minutes to score the other 3. Chris Rigg, his second league goal of the season. At least it's given them something in this last 12 minutes. Chris Rigg. Dack's header forcing the save from Pears. Pears fingertipped. The ball rolled away and Rigg flew in and smashed it home. Sunderland 1, Blackburn 4. Rotherham 1, Millwall 1, as Dolan slips away from Hume out to the left-hand side, and Hume wins the ball off, but illegally, Dolan. And it's a free kick to Blackburn Rovers. 4-1. Newcastle were 3-1 down at the weekend and came back to win 4-3. Sunderland with 12 minutes left, 3 down with 12 minutes
to win.
Will they come back and win?
5-4.
5-4.
Stats?
Well, I haven't got them at my fingertips because I didn't expect to be in this position this afternoon. In fact, there was I boldly declaring this would be a draw, and it's turned out to be far from a draw. Quite the opposite, in fact. Comes back to Wharton here, and now Hyam in the Blackburn half, and out to Britton on the right-hand side. Inside again to Tronstad, back to Britton, and Schmodic wants it played through to him. He tried to get through, but it's cut out by Ballard, but then a ball won back by Ekwa.
Got a run.
And up to the halfway line, Neil, but Buckley gets the ball off him. Comes back out to Tronstad, back to Hyam, and out wide to Markande, where it's knocked out for a Sunderland throw. Rigg's third goal of the season. Of course, he scored in the League Cup. They've given doing the world of good. Here's O'Nien playing it back away from Schmodic to Patterson. Patterson at the edge of his area, playing it to O'Nien. We've got just over 10 minutes left. Styles skips away from Markande. He's trying to get over the halfway line. Goes down in the end. Has just lost his balance and his momentum took him down. Here's Britton on the right, out on the right touchline. He's pushed down by Dack. Britton slowly pulls himself up. Actually, those that are left are just laughing. They announced the attendance at 42,000 whatever, and there is just no way on this planet there were 42,000 in here at the start of the afternoon, and there is no way now there's anything like 20,000 in here, the numbers that have left when Sunderland went 4-0 down. It's 4-1 now, and here's Neil trying to dig the ball out, but he's lost it here, and away comes Buckley trying to find Markande. Styles trying to get back. Markande on the corner of the penalty area, trying to get round Styles, plays it across the far post, and Schmodic, it's 5-1. Schmodic will claim that. He played it into the path of
Moran?
Dack, who was chasing back to try and clear it, and it comes off him into the open net, and Sunderland a 5-1 down, and Schmodic will claim that. He drove it back in. It may go down as known goal, but it's painful.
It is painful, Nick. Very, very painful. And, you know, the big question is, where do you start? You know, is it team selection? You know, you just look at us from the start, and we just, for me, yeah, the first 5-10 minutes of the game, okay, we looked bright,
yeah,
but then we just lost our way.
Cliff, didn't they? They just suddenly went pedestrian.
And then you're looking around. We're looking around now for that experience, somebody to guide us, and it's not there. You know, you look at the score. It's 5-1.
Still with 9 minutes or so to play, and I'm showing the attendance of 42,019.
No, that's not 42,019.
It's 19.
No, it's 4,209 left in the stadium.
There are. It's just there will be nobody left in here, bar the Blackburn fans by the end of the game. They're 5-1 down, Sunderland, Smodic is given the run to Patterson to try and put him off.
Look at it. You know, they're working. Look at them working, closing us down.
Ballard clears again. But back it comes to be hooked away by Blackburn into the empty seats of the East Stand.
Thing is, you've got to dust yourself down. You've got another big game next Saturday against Bristol City. That's not... No game's easy.
No game's easy, but you know, you expect a reaction, wouldn't you? But this is... I come back to, you know, the poles apart of Good Friday and Easter Monday. Such a good performance at Cardiff. Clean sheet, 2 goals. Probably could have had more. To this, where they have played like wimps, haven't they? I mean, they just wimped it out.
But then you've got to look at, well, look at the last 7 games.
Yeah, you do have to take that into context.
8 games, sorry, you know, you lose 6, you draw 1, you've won 1.
Here now is Hume, curls the ball into the penalty area, running onto it, Styles misses it completely. Leaves a skid mark through the 6-yard box, picks himself up as Britton hooks the ball away. Rotherham 2, Millwall 1. Clark goes to put the ball through, is fouled and is won this free kick wide on the left, halfway inside the Blackburn half. We're in the 84th minute. Sunderland 1, Blackburn Rovers 5. There is a phone in. At 5, talking to 5, and Benno will be here to counsel you between 5 and 5:45.
I need counselling.
It probably could be the other way round. You can come on and counsel Benno. Ekwa curls the ball wide through the penalty area. O'Nien goes to keep it in on the far corner. Swept back in by Neal, straight to the feet of Wharton, gives it away to Rigg. Rigg manages to find Clark. Clark looks for Ekwa. Hit it a little bit too harshly, and Ekwa has to chase out to the touchline and then find Dak. Back to Ekwa on the left, swings into O'Nien, heads it towards Pears, who catches it comfortably and falls gratefully upon it. So yes, you can contact Benno after 5. The helpline number is...
I won't be here.
What is the helpline number? I never remember the numbers. You can text him. That might be easier for him on 81 333.
That's the helpline number.
Don't go dialing 999, please. Got enough problems on our hands this afternoon with this. Is Wharton and pushes the ball out to Tronstad, out wide then to Britton, and then back it comes on the right hand side of the penalty area to Hyam, out to Tronstad again. The Norwegians barely had anything to do in the second half for Blackburn. Smodic out to Cresceni on halfway here, back into Tronstad. Job goes to close him down, play through to Dolan. Looking for Smodic now. Flag is up, it's offside. Carlisle on Lincoln 3. And Dan Ballard takes the free kick back to Luke O'Nien. I think what I'm going to do is, it's probably a little bit late in the season, isn't it? But write down the telephone numbers and the text number so that I can brief everybody before 5 o'clock that you're here for them. Benno is here for you, and he will be after 5, with Sunderland trailing Blackburn Rovers 5-1. All the 5s as the ball out for a throw to Blackburn Rovers, and drops to Tronstad, back to Britton. Ekwa wins it back. The ball alleged to have gone out. I didn't think that had gone out, actually. Ekwa feels the same as us, but when it's not going your way, it's not going your way, and it hasn't. And Blackburn take the throw back to Hyam, number 5. He plays it across eventually through the goalkeeper to Wharton, and Wharton swings it down the left wing to Dolan, who's got one of the 5. Back to Wharton, bringing this out down the line to Dolan again. Out it went. It's a throw to Sunderland. 88th minute. I'm predicting we're going to get 5 minutes added time.
Really? They're really putting us through it.
Styles, Clark on the left. Britton closes him down. Clark back into the middle to Neil. Schmodic on his shoulder. Neil just drives the ball at Dolan, knocks him over, but Moran's coming away with it now. Moran has survived the challenge of Hume. The ball rolls away from him and Neil tidies up. And Equa now through the centre circle lays it off to Hume. Out wide then to Chris Rigg, who's got the only Sunderland goal this afternoon, but Cresceni takes the ball off him, the number 45, and he's fouled by Chris Rigg. Bit of pushing and shoving going on here between Rigg and Cresceni. Rigg just losing his cool for a moment, and now Job gets involved as well. Cresceni pushing back, and another push and shove going on as a few more players get involved. Dak is amongst them before they break up, and the goalkeeper comes to protect Cresceni, and he stands alongside the assistant and the referee. Referee John Busby is calling Job to him, and he's got Cresceni and Job together. He's not actually booked anybody this afternoon, John Busby. No.
I think you look at this and it's, shall we say, how we've been beaten. A defeat.
Will Mike Dodds feel he got the team selection wrong?
Well, he's trying. I think the question is, what's the positives you've got out of this? What are the positives?
Well, not many. Chris Rigg is goal.
Jack Clark
coming back. But Roberts came back and had a poor game from his point of view. Here's Neil. Rolls it to Styles, back to Neil. You've got to point the finger at the defence as well. I mean, they were all over the place for really all of the goals.
Yeah, but midfield as well, giving the ball away. How many times did you give the ball away?
Yeah, and that was responsible for the pressure that Blackburn put on Sunderland. Here's Cresceni to Dolan. Dolan being chased by Equa, plays it across to Britton, taps it to Hyam, back to Britton. Closed down by Clark, but Britton now skips away from Equa, who pulls him back, but the ball played down the line to Markandé. Harrogate 4, Gillingham 1. Here's Markandé again, and it's whipped away by Britton, headed forwards from the halfway line by O'Nien. Rigg now with this.
4 minutes.
We'll have 4 minutes of added time. Clark on the left here. We're into those 4 minutes. Clark trying to wheedle his way into the penalty area. The ball headed away by Hyam, drops down for Hume, miskicks it. Britton hooks it away. West Brom 2, Watford 2. As we play out the final few minutes of this heavy defeat, which is what it's going to be. Sunderland trailing 5-1 to Blackburn Rovers. 2-0 down at half-time. 4-0 up. They managed to pull one back through Chris Rigg, but then, well, I'm sure Schmodic will claim it. I think he'll probably get it.
I think it's an own goal.
I think Dak, it was an own goal. I think it crashed off Dak on the goal line, which is why I think it's a sort of grey area. That it certainly wouldn't have gone directly in from the goal, from the where Schmodic was on the line. Now with Ballard down the right to Hume. Swings the ball in, looking for Dak, headed away by Wharton. Out on the far side, it's Moran who hooks it away to Dolan. Slips it here to Cresceni. And Cresceni, well, he's got 3 Sunderland players around him, and Rigg goes charging in and smashes the ball away. Harrogate 5, Gillingham 1. As now Equa out to Clark on the left wing. Clark dribbling into the penalty area onto his right. Passing it here to Dak. Saved and then put back at him by Job.
Couldn't finish it.
He couldn't finish it. Wharton was on his shoulder, and it sort of bounced off Job into the hands of Pears. So Dak potentially involved in 2 Sunderland goals. It turns out to be only 1 at this current moment, because we played 2 minutes of added time. We have 2 left. Dak goes to close Pears down. Pears gets the ball up over the top, looking for Schmodic, headed down by O'Nien. Schmodic trying to get a touch to it, but it comes back to O'Nien, and he plays it out to Styles, back to Equa. And immediately the press is on again from Blackburn Rovers.
No,
they win it back here. Markande into Schmodic now at the edge of the area. He's trying to tee up a shot. It's blocked by Neil, who'll go out for a corner.
You know, he's wasting time moaning, having a go at the referee, Ekwa. The game's going on.
93rd minute. Schmodic is down in the corner, leaves it now for John Buckley to take the corner kick.
It's the manner of the defeat for myself.
Yeah, short to Markande, back to Buckley. Markande again trying to win it, and he has, and then it's hooked away out for a throw by Styles. And down here is Dolan to take the throw as we enter the last minute of the 4, added on by John Busby. Dolan goes to recover the ball, and barely a Sunderland fan left in the stadium in the context of how many it holds. They're brave to stay. Dolan to Britton on the touchline, back to Buckley. Buckley now inside to Dolan, tackled by Neil through Rigg, and Rigg trying to get away from Tronstad, finds Job, out to Neil on the left here inside the Blackburn half, now lifting it up over the top for Job to chase, but Cresceni gets in front of him and the ball drops back to Ainsley Pears, and we've got seconds left of the game. The referee, I think, is about to blow. In fact, he does. The boos of those that are left in the stadium tell you the story of the afternoon. Shameful, really. Schmodic, 2 goals in the first half. Ryan Hedges, Tyrese Dolan, then Chris Rigg pulling one back. But Dak crashing one in his chest on the goal line from Schmodic's powerful ball played back from the goal line. All 5 Blackburn goals coming within the 6-yard box.
Yeah, cheers, Keith. Thank you for tuning in, man.
Again, yeah, disappointing defeat, but it's, I would say, the manner of the defeat. You know, and again, you know, we mentioned what's the positives out of that game, which we got. You know, we was up in arms, we was over the moon in regards of the game on Friday, how well they played. Then all of a sudden, you know, Monday, it's like it was a totally different team. Like they didn't play with each other, didn't know each other, no movement, tempo was slow.
13th at the minute.
We got bullied.
13th.
You know, and then as the game went on, we said it, we called it, you could see it. Blackburn growing with confidence. Yeah, there was, and we're using that word, no reaction.
Where was the press? Where was the duress on Blackburn Rovers? Where was the urgency? We saw none of it, did we, after 7-8 minutes of the game?
And that's what you're talking about. When you talk about experience, having an experienced player in the team, you know, somebody who's been there, knows all about it. You know, how many times did we give the ball away? But if somebody's not telling you, or somebody's not guiding you, you continue doing that, and that's what we done. Kept giving the ball away time and time again, and you get punished.
And punished Sunderland have been this afternoon severely by a Blackburn Rovers team fighting the threat of relegation. A first win for John Eustace, who's been in charge since the beginning of February, and he couldn't have had a more emphatic win than this afternoon in front of a reported crowd of 42,019. I think we all know it was a lot less than that, and certainly with 20 minutes to go, it was nearer 15,019 than 42,019. A lot of work to do this week for Mike Dodds and his coaching staff. It's Bristol City here next Saturday. But this afternoon in the Easter double bill, well, the egg is well and truly broken today. It's finished Sunderland 1, Blackburn Rovers 5.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Not the result we were hoping for. It could, though, make for a lively phone-in. We'd love to hear from you this evening. You might be one of the fans that left very early after...
Well, there we go. What's your thoughts after that game then, lads? Oh, I dare not read the thoughts on the second half on social media. Trying not to think, says Mike. Truckerhauser says, this is more than a manager issue. Lee says, what would be intriguing is who starts the next game. Full match awful, major changes needed. Peter says, who made the decision to sack Mowbray? Absolute shambles. Yeah, we welcome Stephen, mate. Simon, are the owners fiddling the attendance? There's something going on. Shows how good Mowbray was. Says Doug. Stephen, yeah, me and the Maccabi have always said we have no experience in the team. Utter shit, says Jonathan. The owners haven't got a clue. They need to sell up, says Brian. Really good. Could have snatched a draw, my personal opinion, yet humble opinion. I didn't think Blackburn were all that, to be honest with you. Hello, League One again. I don't think we're going to get down, are we? Absolutely pathetic. Oh, I'm telling you. Oh, that would be lucky. I'm telling you. Hey, don't forget to send us Ant's number, Darth. I'll give him a ring. I'll give him a ring later. Oh, how is he doing? Oh no. No way. I'll give him, if you give me a number, I'll give him a ring later on, see how he's doing. Cheers, mate. Get the Sunderland ladies to play on Saturday. Kev says, can't wait for your next video, Cavi. Welcome. Oh, dear me. Wait, it's that bad you can only laugh, innit? Mark Smith, rubbish. But once you support your team, it's in your blood for life. God's sake. It's always good having a crack, man. It makes the pain a bit less painful, doesn't it? Enjoy your wedding. Enjoy your wedding, yeah? Next time there's an AGM meeting, some serious questions need to be bluntly asked. Does Job have a clause in his contract that states he has to play when fit? If so, why is it detrimental to the team? Why can't we offer players like Clark improved contracts? Why were our best players sold and not replaced? We won't be allowed to ask it. Oh no. Yeah, well done. You've got to say well done to Blackburn Rovers, Tyler. You can't not say well done because they have. Congratulations, they'll be having a nice journey down the M1, and good luck to you guys for the rest of the season. That'll do your morale the world of good. I don't think you're kind of gone down. I think it's looking very the bottom three of the bottom three, to be honest with you. Inexperienced team, fragile, confident, management and chaos, inevitable. Yeah, Rovers. Kevin Taylor, even my wife Heather enjoys your commentary, Carrie. Thank you. Well, I am going to end the stream now, but keep an eye for the match review. Should be interesting at some point tonight, so keep an eye out. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been great having you all. A massive turnout today, over 300 and odd tuning in at some times. Much appreciated, and enjoy the rest of your, nearly said Saturday night, Monday night. Toodaloo.